Energy on KMOX.
Let's take it from the top.
Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday. Why does it feel like Friday? Why does it feel like Thursday? I don't know what it does. It does not feel like Tuesday. I know that.
I met with a friend yesterday, and she kept talking about last weekend as if it were a week ago. She's like, well, it's been a week. I go, no, yesterday was Sunday.
Bro, I don't know what's going on.
She felt like the whole week had happened. It hasn't happened yet.
You know what it is, though? It's October.
Oh, baby, that
Holy
means
monkey,
it's Christmas.
It's not Christmas, Amy.
Basically Christmas.
Well, it's almost Thanksgiving.
In Venezuela, it's been Christmas.
That's true. That's true. When
to try to soften
all of the arrests,
all of the political arrests that have been happening. It's Christmas in Venezuela, so there's that.
Well, hey, Merry Christmas to all of you. It is October 1st, and our phone number is 314-436-7900.
Mm-hmm.
We are streaming on the Odyssey app. We are also welcoming your voice messages from that same Odyssey app. There's a little mic button. You tap it, you record something and send it to us. Also, you can watch us if you want to. It's a good idea to follow us on Twitter at Chris Amy KMOX, so you can do that.
Time now for the top of the order. The top three stories everybody will be talking about.
Cardinals have a new direction as their offseason begins. They announced Chaim Bloom is going to take over as president of baseball operations. After next year, we will talk about the direction the team is taking on the show today.
And local and federal law enforcement officials were able to arrest 15 members of the 55 Boys gang. They've been sentenced for their fentanyl and gun crimes.
And the White House says Iran is preparing for an imminent ballistic missile attack against Israel, which is a story that we will be following. And if there are any developments there, of course, we will cover it. The newsroom will have it as well. We've got Joe Gatto coming on the show today. Remember Impractical Jokers? Yeah.
Remember it.
It's still on.
It's still on. He's not on that show anymore, but the show is still on. And we have had Sal Volcano on.
We've had everybody now, or we will.
And Murr.
Yes.
And Quinn. We had Q on, right?
No.
We didn't have Q on?
He will be the only one we have not had on.
That's insane.
Unless you had him on with Charlie before I started.
I don't think so, but here's what I'll tell you. When we started this show, if you said, okay, you're going to have an entire group on, one at a time, who's it going to be? And I thought maybe you too. No, I would have said maybe the Memphis Mafia from the 2011 Cardinals. Something like that. I never would have guessed the entire cast of Impractical Jokers separately would join us.
So this is how we guilt Quinn into coming on.
Are you sure we haven't had Quinn on?
I have not been here for that. Well, we had Murr on, and he was in the van with the rest of them, and they were all talking in the background.
And we just recently had Sal on.
We just had Sal on a couple of weeks ago. So no, we haven't had Q on. Unless he was on before I got here.
Oh, no. We haven't had an Impractical Joker on without you here.
Am I right? This is how we guilt him into coming on the show. We say the rest of them have been on. What are you doing? All right. Well, we'll see if we can make that happen. But Joe Gatto, comedian, former Impractical Joker, is he's going to be at the River City Casino and Hotel this Friday, which is coming up. He's got a stand-up show, and he hopes you'll go and see that. Bernie Miklasz will join us at 11:30 to discuss what we learned yesterday about the Cardinals. And also
Ryan Fagan.
And Ryan Fagan will talk about them as well. And the death of Pete Rose, who was one of the most famous baseball personalities in history, who was not in the Hall of Fame, that upsets a lot of people. It makes a lot of other people very happy. So we're going to talk to Ryan Fagan about that as well as the Cardinals.
And not to talk ill of the dead, but man, I will probably talk ill of the dead today. Pete Rose was not a good guy. And the thing is, I knew about the gambling thing, and Pete Rose, and everybody knows oh, should he be in, should he not be in? But I hadn't really done a dive into the biography of Pete Rose.
Yeah, not the best.
Not a great guy. Okay. He regularly had sexual relations with a 14/15-year-old in the 70s. His defense was,
he lives in Mississippi.
No, I thought she was 16.
Well,
they're like, Pete Rose, you were in a relationship with a 14-year-old. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought she was 16, which is the age of consent in Ohio, which means that qualifies as statutory rape. The good news is the worst thing he ever did in his life, he said, was betting on baseball.
Jeez.
I would have thought it would have been the rape.
I don't know if I'm, am I wrong on this? Aren't there states in the South where the age of consent's like 15? Isn't it like that? I don't want to disparage the South.
Ages have changed. You don't want to disparage the South.
Okay.
You do nothing but disparage the South.
That's not true.
I do know ages have changed. I do know the driving, you used to be able to get your driver's license in Texas at 14.
What?
Yeah. I have a friend. She was, older, like 70, and she grew up in Texas and got her legal driver's license at 14.
Oh.
Yeah.
That seems like way too young. I think to drive a vehicle?
Yeah, but I would rather the driving age be young than the age of consent.
Okay, so the age of consent, I'm just a quick look, quick Google search. There are a lot of states where it's 16, but nothing under that I can tell.
Yeah.
16 is still young.
Okay, we have got to move on, but I will say this. When I went to Switzerland, it's the German-Swiss, so very heavily influenced by German, and the spa was a unisex, men and women fully naked, like sauna. There's signs everywhere. No clothes, no swimsuits, no socks, no shoes, nothing, right? Men and women. But it was like over the age of 16, which I thought was kind of young. If you're like a teenage girl and you go in and there's like a 45-year-old man, that's kind of gross to me. 16 seems young for the both, men and women naked sauna. Seemed a little young. Like if you're going to do that, at least be over 21, right?
It's Europe, man. Things are a little different in Europe.
Okay. Local and federal law enforcement officials, I do want to get to this quickly. They were busy, and they yesterday stood next to, and this description is great, like in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, stood next to a table full of guns, photos, and cash counters. They dismantled a South St. Louis drug distribution ring called the 55 Boys because of Interstate 55. They arrested its leader, 27-year-old local rapper Devontae Jizzlebucks Lindsay.
What? I love that nickname, by the way.
Yeah?
I mean, he's in serious trouble, but the nickname ain't bad.
Well, they got him. They got old Jizzlebucks, and he has been sentenced in federal court for drug, weapons, and money laundering crimes. Okay, this is a big deal because the gang was one of the largest fentanyl distributors in the city. Do you remember, was it last year or 2 years ago when all those people in the Central West End, like in the same apartment building, died because the marijuana they had was laced with fentanyl?
Vaguely familiar, yeah.
I mean, these people probably thought it's pot. It's not a big deal, right? Yeah. I'm not doing anything really dangerous, but it was laced with fentanyl, and then like 5, 6, 7 people died. It was awful. So this gang was one of the largest fentanyl distributors. It was a 3-year investigation. They found thousands of fentanyl capsules, $120,000 in cash, 2 cars, 24 guns, and a 55 Boys chain that was bedazzled with about 2,500 diamonds, which they said was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. What's interesting is this whole inquiry began in 2021. So St. Louis police detectives and members of the ATF realized they were looking for the same group. And so they were able to work on this together, the 55 Boys. It was a spinoff of several other local gangs. And Jizzlebucks, in his rap videos, he posted on YouTube, he had a shirt that said Interstate 55 Boys. He rapped about his crimes, and he advertised fentanyl sales and text messages. He had a network of drug houses and fentanyl proceeds and so forth. So 20 people will face charges in separate federal cases.
Yeah, and hopefully when that this has happened, hopefully it will make a noticeable difference in terms of the safety of people who are affected by fentanyl in St. Louis or in South St. Louis primarily. And I guess we'll see. It's really difficult to know in the initial stages. Probably going to be a thing where over months we can measure whether or not an arrest like this has had an effect. But it's good that it's happened. It's good that they have disrupted it, at least for a little bit.
We're going to talk to Brad Young later, but I know this has come up before, but I feel like it's happening more often. That these rappers, especially maybe not the big ones that we all know, like the Grammy Award winning rappers, but more like local rappers are literally rapping about the crimes they're committing, whether it's killing people, assault, drugs, theft. At some point, when can you say, yeah, you wrote your lyrics here are going to be used against you because you in detail talked about the crimes you were committing?
There was it's very vaguely in my mind, but Young Thug, and I want to say it was a while ago. Either it was late last year or early this year. There was a court case that had something to do with that had something to do with whether or not rap lyrics that he had written could be used against him. And I forgot what the outcome of that was. I think the judge said that it could be allowed, or at least parts of it could be allowed. But I think it's an interesting legal question, and we could talk to Brad Young about it in the 12 o'clock hour, because sometimes when you're writing lyrics, and this goes for any musician, rap, country, rock, whatever you're doing, people embellish. People or they make things up for the story.
Remember the Kia Boys when they were rapping and making videos about stealing the cars?
Yeah, and sometimes it's reality. So I think it's a really, I don't know, it's really murky for me. I'd be curious to hear what Brad has to say.
You know what I can tell you what didn't happen yesterday?
What's that?
Is no one went, oh, not Jizzlebucks. He wouldn't do anything like that.
Well, I don't know that anybody knew who that was.
Somebody did. He probably had fans.
Well, some people.
Yeah, but nobody looked at Jizzlebucks and went, oh my gosh, I can't believe he did that.
Great nickname.
I thought he was joking.
I wonder if somebody gave him that or if he came up with it on his own.
Why don't you ask him? He's in custody now.
Well, but he's not going to answer my calls.
There's Stu Mac. We're going to get the newsroom on this.
Stuart McMillan has been covering this story. He's done a great job of reporting on it. You can read about it on KMOX.com. And, of course, you can listen in for further updates on that story and more. We are also keeping an eye, as we said, on Iran and Israel. And they are expecting a missile attack that could happen against Israel. The White House is warning of it. So we will be following, and if anything does transpire, we will, of course, let you know about that. Ryan Fagan is going to join us, longtime baseball writer, Hall of Fame voter. We'll talk about Pete Rose. We'll talk about what the Cardinals announced yesterday. He's next on KMOX.
Well, today would be a great day to watch some playoff baseball. It starts today. Maybe listen to some KMOX break down the Cardinals out on your deck or in your backyard, because that's one of your favorite places to hang out, or at least it should be. If it's not, here's what you need to do. You need to visit stlfenceworks.com. stlfenceworks.com. When you are embarking on a big project like this, anything that has to do with your home, your yard, you want to make sure you can trust the people you're working with, that you can trust the craftsmanship. You can trust the business. You can trust the owners. You can trust the quality and the warranty. And STL Fenceworks offers all of that certainty. They have been serving this area for over 50 years. They're family owned and operated, locally owned and operated, and they've partnered with the highest quality products and companies to make sure you have the very best deck or fence. For instance, let's say you're looking at a vinyl fence right now. They've partnered with Homeland Vinyl Products that offer high quality fences in really beautiful colors like white, tan, and this adobe color, which is clay, and then a chai gray or dark gray color. It looks beautiful. And again, they have a warranty that surpasses anything else in the industry. Visit them today at stlfenceworks.com.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, it's Glover here for Universal Windows Direct. For every 2 windows you buy, get the next 2 free, and there's no limit, plus 0% financing for 60 months. Call 314-334-2522, and like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
We interrupt with a special report from the Missouri Lottery. With a new millionaire every 8.1 days last year, there's no shortage of Missouri Lottery winners. However, there is currently a shortage of confetti. This may impact all confetti-related activities, hullabaloos, whoop-de-doos, jamborees, shebangs, and any and all festive goings-ons. Rest assured, Missouri Lottery winners will receive a single confetto with every big win for the time being. We apologize for the shortage, but not the winning. Thus concludes this report from the Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome. Play responsibly.
When was the last time you watched your home movies?
Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for: their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
In the know, on the go. Trust KMOX for local news that impacts St. Louis and the region. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
That's posted in every clubhouse in baseball, isn't it?
A lot of players don't pay much attention to the fine print.
But that's not fine print. That's not infield fly rule. That's not.
It's not as big as you.
It's not when a game becomes official and whatever. That's the most important rule. That's the rule that goes to the integrity and to the authenticity of the game. So why would you violate it?
I wish I could answer that question, but I just can't. I was wrong. I just stupid. Worst thing I ever did in my life.
That's Pete Rose admitting to betting on baseball. And Pete Rose yesterday died at the age of 83. It is time to go to the Quiver River Electric guest line. And we want to talk to Ryan Fagan, who is a longtime baseball writer and is a Hall of Fame voter. And also he's an expert in baseball cards. So I'm sure he's seen a few Pete Rose baseball cards in his day. Ryan, appreciate your time. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, definitely had some Pete Rose cards, especially those 1987 Topps Classics. I had a million of those at some point. So,
well, I want to talk to you about Pete, but let's first get your thoughts on what the Cardinals announced yesterday. Chaim Bloom is going to take over as president of baseball ops. That's after next year or after next season when Mozeliak will be finished completely. And then, of course, payroll's coming down. They're going to invest in the minor leagues. What are your thoughts?
They're moves that are probably long overdue, right? I mean, there was a reason that the Cardinals were consistently so good for all those years, and that's because they brought up all these young guys, these players who were ready to contribute right away, and that didn't happen. And they admitted that they haven't put the emphasis on the player development, not to the level they should. And I mean, that's on them, right? Those were decisions that were made to focus on other areas. And if you're a Cardinals fan right now, you're kind of like, well, yeah, we knew that too, and I think the major takeaway, or the main takeaway, I think for a lot of fans from the press conference yesterday was that even though they tried to frame it as a major announcement, it didn't feel like a major announcement. I think there's a lot of things for the the 2025 season, they're going to be the same as they were in the 2024 season, a lot of the frustration. So, we'll see. I think Chaim Bloom is a great choice to be the person in charge going forward. I think obviously his tenure in Boston wasn't what the Red Sox were hoping for, but, there were a lot of factors there. I think when you look at what he did with the Rays and in his time there and building that team and that franchise with the constraints that they had into the consistent contender that they did, I think, he's a very good choice to be kind of that head person going forward.
Yeah. You know what? It felt less like a major announcement and more like someone who was forced to make a statement because the situation got so bad that I don't want to call it a mea culpa because it's not like they're guilty. It was more of like we were forced to make a statement. If that's the only way I can put it.
Yeah, when Bill DeWitt came on, and the first thing he said is we have a major announcement. I thought, oh wait, maybe it's going to be different than what we expected, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
Just because you say something is a major announcement doesn't necessarily mean it was. I mean, it's a step in the right direction. It's acknowledging that they've made mistakes over the past several years in terms of their focus. And let's be honest. If some of the major moves they had made had panned out, some of the free agent signings that they've done and trades they've made over the last couple of years, if they had panned out, maybe they wouldn't be in the position where they had to. But I think the reality of where they are finally set in, and they're forced to do something. I'm not sure anyone outside of the Cardinals organization is going to call that the major move that I think a lot of people expected. But at least it is moving in the right direction. I think that's something we can probably all agree on, even if we don't all agree on the speed with which it is happening.
Quickly, Ryan, how long do you think it takes for this team to be competitive again, knowing that they're in the National League Central and knowing payroll is probably going to go down? Some guys off the roster may not be here next year. Can they be competitive immediately, or will it take some time?
I'll put it this way. I think they can be a great feel-good story over the next couple of years because they have guys like Jordan Walker and Mason Wynn and Victor Scott and Nolan Gorman. And if they can get some of these guys to kind of turn around where they are, the talent is there, right? I mean, the talent is there to have a good core of youngsters. I think so much of the problem in the past several years has been because there was this need to win. If a young guy had a bad 2-week stretch, they were sent down. They were pushed to the back burner, and that's a tough way to learn because that's a tough way to get better. I think you look at the Brewers and Jackson Chourio, the fantastic rookie. He was pretty bad the first couple of months of the season, month and a half, and then he had the chance to play every day, and he had the chance to stay in there and to keep learning at that big league level. And then by the end of the year, he was really good, right? He was really stepping into that talent. So because there is talent still in the organization, and there's some high level talent, I don't think this is not going to be a scenario where, the Cardinals lose 105 games, 110 games, and are, going for a number one draft pick, because the talent's still there to be a competitive team. I don't think they're going to be by any means a favorite, but we'll see how some of the young pitching develops. But I mean, it's not unreasonable to think that they can still be a competitive team and maybe looking at a playoff berth, as soon as a couple of years.
Ryan, as we let you go, I will say, don't worry about speaking ill of the dead because I already did. What are your thoughts on the passing of Pete Rose and whether or not you think he'll get into the Hall of Fame posthumously?
I don't think he will. I don't think he ever will, and I don't think he should. There's one rule. There's one sacred rule in baseball, and it's don't bet on the sport. I mean, there's a reason that from the Black Sox scandal back in the early 1900s until now, he is the only person to be suspended for betting on his team. And the reason is because everybody knows you don't do that. That's the one line you cannot cross. And he did it. And then he lied about it for 15 years. He lied about it. He accused everybody of being against him. I mean, look, Pete Rose was an incredible baseball player. He really was. He did things that we've never seen. He did in a way that caused people to love the way that he did it. His hustle, his enthusiasm, his competitiveness were all things that people admired. But, he, and for reasons we probably don't want to get into here, he was not a good person. Right.
I got into it.
We did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like I said, you don't think about these things until someone passes away and you start looking through it and you're like, oh my gosh. Betting on baseball was not the worst thing he did, believe it or not.
Right. Yeah. When you played the clip coming into it, and he said that the betting was the worst decision he ever made.
Well,
no,
it
really
rape.
wasn't. So, yeah.
That story.
So,
yeah.
So I don't think he ever will get in. I mean, Shoeless Joe Jackson's still not in, and he doesn't have any of that other baggage that Pete Rose did. And we're not still 100% sure that Joe did anything.
That's right.
In that World Series. So, I think you're going to see a lot of talk about it, but I would be very surprised if it happened.
Ryan Fagan, it's great to talk to you, man. Thank you for visiting with us today.
Always enjoy it. Thanks.
Longtime baseball writer, Hall of Fame voter Ryan Fagan joining us here. When we come back, a former impractical joker and a comedian who is coming to town. Joe Gatto joins us next on the Chris and Amy Show.
It's time for a $98 Furnace tune-up.
This is Jean Marie Laskus with the podcast Cement City. So there's this election coming up, a big one, and one guy's been indicted. People are talking voter fraud. Democracy itself is on the line. Sound familiar? Well, this isn't that election. This one is in Donora, Pennsylvania, a dying town in the middle of nowhere, where I bought a house and stayed for 3 years. Listen to and follow Cement City, an Odyssey original podcast in partnership with Cement City Productions, available now for free on the Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
At 10:30, we've got sun. It is 67 downtown at the Arch. Dock workers at ports from Maine to Texas are walking picket lines in a strike over wages and automation that could reignite inflation and cause shortages of goods if it goes on for more than a few weeks. The contract between the ports and about 45,000 members of the International Longshoremen's Association expired at midnight. Some road work on 6440 going west at McCausland. That's got the left lane closed. We've got some more road work on 44 going east at Jefferson. That's got the right lane closed. Also road work on 370 going west at 270. That's got the left lane closed. Back to 44, some debris on 44 west at Hampton. That's got the middle 2 lanes closed. Weather is sponsored by DesignAirService.com, St. Louis's leading air conditioning and repair service. This afternoon's high 75. For tonight, lows from near 40 in the coolest suburbs to 48 downtown. For tomorrow, the high 74. Right now, downtown, it is 67. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
At Design Air, the customer is most important. From emergency repair to HVAC maintenance, high-efficiency furnaces, or an air conditioner installation, get great service from DesignAirService.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. For over 35 years, we've grown by offering our clients more offices, more lawyers, and recovering more than $20 billion. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hi, this is Ken Newbold for Newbold Toyota and Newbold BMW, a family-owned dealership group that has been around for 50 years as a Toyota dealer and 25 years in O'Fallon, Illinois. So come see us. That's Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon or NewboldToyota.com. You'll be sold. on Newbold.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. Call 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100. 800-290-7100.
News Radio KMOX, the home of the Cardinals.
I don't really have a body built for sport. It's built more for pastry. That's why all my dogs are named after Italian pasta dishes and desserts. That's what makes sense for me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, all my dogs. I got cannoli, biscotti, spumoni, tartufo, tiramisu, linguine, ravioli, the brother and sister fettuccine alfredo.
On Friday, that man will be here in St. Louis at River City Casino and Hotel. Tickets are available at rivercity.com. His name is Joe Gatto, and he joins us on the Quiver River Electric guest line. Comedian, you might know him from the very popular show Impractical Jokers. Well, he is out on his own right now. His new special is called Messing with People. It is on YouTube. You can watch it there. He's also got a children's book called Where's Barry? Joe Gatto is with us on KMOX. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, man, we're doing great. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thanks so much for asking. I love the electric line. It seems very official.
Well, you know what? Everybody has an opinion of the Quiver River Electric guest line.
Yeah, really? I mean, it gives you a vibe instantly. Like, this is a very important phone call.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it is.
It is. We
only. I don't want to mess this up. It's a lot of pressure now.
Oh, I'm sure you've been on TV. You're fine.
Well, but the stock value of the Quiver River Electric is resting on this interview with
true.
Joe.
Yeah, if you blow this, you're really going to screw things up for Quiver River.
I'm stretching out as we speak. It'll be okay. Don't worry. Here we go. Let's do it.
Well, speaking in front of people and going out on tour, having your own special, how has this been for you? Did you have to kind of get used to the rhythm of it?
Yeah, it's been such a great ride. I mean, I've been performing live in front of people for a long time for my career, but it's always been with a group. So the biggest transition for me when I started in stand-up on my own about 4 years ago with my first tour, Messing with People, was, I just had to be on for 60 minutes by myself. So that was a big change. But it's just been great. I've had so much fun. I love putting together an event for people to come out and laugh and spend some time with like-minded folks who just want to have a good time, especially when we need laughter so much right now. And I think it's very important.
Yeah. And so it is difficult to not difficult. It is completely different to not have a group of friends that you're working off of. You know, you're all delivering lines. You know how to make fun of each other, which is funny. Right. I mean, in itself, to watch friends make fun of each other is funny, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of. So, I mean, how challenging is it to do individual stand up?
Well, it's just a different formula. You think about what it is. You make fun of yourself because I'm pretty easy to make fun of. But I think the main thing really is like, I'm a storyteller. You just got to find the way you want to do it. You know, what's your voice when you do stand up? And I'm a storyteller, and I've had 48 years old at this point. So I've had a pretty storied life. I've got lots of fun anecdotes to share, perspective and point of view on things. So that's been the most fun part for me, was being able to weave these things together. So with my new tour, it's called Let's Get Into It, because I think about how do you become the person you are, like, and the only thing that you know is your own journey, right? And I started as this geeky, nerdy kid who used to make tests for my father when he would come home for 10 hours selling life insurance door to door. I would meet him at the door with a multiple choice exam and be like, "Pop quiz, Dad," and now I'm this loud, boisterous, confident guy. Like, how did we get here? So it's a lot of fun to like look at yourself, look at the stories that have formed you, and it's just been really cool.
Wait, what were these multiple choice quizzes about?
Yeah. I would open up the new the Book of Knowledge encyclopedia.
Okay.
And we had every thing, and I would open them all up. We were missing W. I don't know where W went. I think something happened to it. And I would just go through and I'd pick random stuff, and my dad would have to do his best to just pass this homemade SAT.
Would he ever just tell you, no, I'm not doing that?
No, he was always game.
That's awesome.
He was fun. He was great like that. It's funny because my son is pretty smart, and he starts giving me math tests, and I'm apologizing to my father in heaven, oh, I'm sorry, Dad, I put you through this. We're talking with comedian Joe Gatto with us on KMOX. Again, he's going to be at River City Casino on Friday, and tickets are available at rivercity.com if you want to go see Joe. And so we've talked about this tour, this special that you are in. Is there and as we also discussed, you have toured with the Impractical Jokers before. Does it feel more grueling to do it on your own, or is it just about the same? No, I mean, you're responsible for all of it, so it's a little different, that way. But the best part about it is, if you fail, it's your fault. But when you win and you do well, it's all your accolades, So it's definitely a different dynamic. There's definitely benefits to both, different formats, But it's good to just be on the road and in front of people, because that's my favorite part of it, is just being able to go to these towns and get in front of people and give people a reason just to come out. So you still get that part of it.
Am I right that you are quite a fan of Paula Abdul?
Oh, my girl. She's forever my girl.
That's right.
Yeah,
Were you a fan growing up?
Yeah, I was. I have two older sisters too. So Paula was in the house. I'm actually looking right now at a piece of memorabilia from our movie. I had stolen the microphone from the scene when I sang with her on stage, and I had gotten it framed, and she signed a page of the script for me. And she says, "Get off my stage. I'm forever your girl."
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's the best. Yeah.
Was she flattered when she found out you were in love with her?
Yes, I'm sure she gets it all the time. But it was funny because she actually knew the show. We didn't know that she knew it. And she was a fan of the show. And I remember the first day we were filming at a Red Lobster, the scene where the flashback scene with her. And we had never met. And we sat and talked for about 2 hours, all of us in a booth. And then the director came over and he was like, "Hey guys, can we get started?" Or we were just hanging out in a Red Lobster with Paul Abdul. It was so funny. But she's super sweet. She's an amazing individual. She insisted on doing her own stunts. It was crazy.
Oh,
yeah, she was she's the best.
What is do you remember? I'm sure I would think you do. The most uncomfortable punishment you ever got on Impractical Jokers?
I've tried to block it out. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, you're
on the Quiver River hotline.
Yeah.
That's why it's called that. Yeah. They don't get that name for nothing.
That's right.
That's right. You're right. I've got quiver to my boots. I think the hands down, the one that people always cite too is when I was forced to steal baseballs from children at the Mets.
Yes.
And tell them to buy it on eBay. Yeah, that was.
You
that
got
was
threatened, right?
Yeah, I guess that mom wasn't happy, but it did make sense to me because she had a toddler, and she's like, "I want to get a baseball for them." I'm like, "Give me the kid. I'll get him to throw it to me." And she gave me her toddler to hold, and I was holding her kid and yelling at Noah Syndergaard, calling him Jeter. I was like, "Jeter, throw one for the kid, throw one for the kid." And then she got mad. I gave the kid back, but she got mad as if I kept the kid. It was very, very bizarre for me.
She'd rather you kept the kid and give her the
I
baseball.
think she might have actually. Yeah. But she was like, "You know what?"
That is, now Raj is on your side because he's a firm believer that life is tough and we shouldn't be giving baseballs to kids at baseball games.
If you get the ball, then keep it.
Yeah,
you earned it.
They need to learn that life is tough.
That's right.
See, he was the one guy on your side.
Yep.
Yeah. Where were you? Why weren't you helping me?
I didn't know you were doing. If you would have told me ahead of time, I would have been running defense for you.
You're right. It's my
bad. So growing up in Staten Island, you went to a Catholic high school. I imagine those two things combined have got to provide some material for your stand-up work.
It was an all-boy Catholic school. So, humor was definitely ingrained in you. I was pretty geeky. I got bullied a little bit, and I used humor as a weapon, which was a lot of fun. I used to reverse bully the football players. I remember there was a football player had come over with this big linebacker guy, and I knocked the books out of his hands, and I said, "Pick those up." He's like, "I'm sorry, Mr. Gatto." And he picked up the book, And I used to make him give me piggyback rides down the hall, and I used to high five everybody. Yeah, that was the kind of school it was.
That's really funny.
That's awesome.
You ever had anybody who did not like you in high school who is now a fan of you or fan of the show or whatever and has apologized?
No, it's more like, I don't really hold grudges or remember who likes me, who doesn't. Life's too short for that. But I will, when I meet people, it's hard because, I'm Joe on, in real life on TV. Like I was always Joe. It's not like I was playing a character. So people come up to me and be like, hey, and I'll be like, hey, there he is. Like, I don't know where I know them from. And then I'll be like, you want a picture? And I'm like, we went to grammar school together, Joe. I was like, oh, hey, how are you? So it's a little different. It's a little tough.
Maybe they still want a picture. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know. Show your kids.
You're pulling that thing that people do when they can't remember somebody else's name. Like, hey, there he is.
There he is the best sentence ever. There he is. And I never say good to meet you. I always say good to see you. Those two little tweaks change everything.
Yeah, it really makes you feel like you're friends when you say good to see you.
They're like, here I am. Yes, I am here. This is me.
Have you, Joe Gatto, comedian, is with us on KMOX. Have you been to St. Louis before?
Yes, I've been to St. Louis. Very, very fun town. Yes.
What's your favorite part of St. Louis, if you can remember it?
You have that really cool museum, right? There's that,
the City Museum.
Yeah, the City Museum's unbelievable. Me and Sal got lost in there for an afternoon. It was so fun. Yeah, that's a really cool spot. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Did you get to go up in the school bus that's like hanging off the building?
Yep, hanging out there. Yeah, Sal was shaking in his boots. I made him go in it. It was so fun. It was great. Yeah, I love that.
We had, it was a few weeks ago, about maybe a month and a half, we had Sal on.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've
We're
had
slowly
now,
working our way.
Yes, we've had every Impractical Joker on except for Quinn. So.
Oh, okay. Well, he's like the golden goose. You'll get him.
Yeah, we'll see.
He's got Pokemon. You got to collect them all. Yeah.
That's right. And then actually, we're sending in the tabs after we get all you guys, and I think we get a T-shirt.
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Sure. How did you guys like Sal? He's a nice guy, right?
Oh, he's super nice.
Oh, yeah.
And I was speaking of punishments. I brought up the one that I love, the bingo one.
That was the most dangerous thing. Those blue hairs got crazy.
Oh my God. There are like 200 people at a bingo hall, and he kept having to yell bingo when he didn't have it. It was awesome.
They did not like it.
No. That was so uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was introduced to the show a few years ago now, and I think I've seen like every episode. It is the most physical show in the sense of like the visceral reactions where I'm cringing, I've screamed, I've like fallen off the couch.
Like the third hand cringe is really tough.
So uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever
collateral
watched anything.
Embarrassment. We call that term collateral embarrassment.
Oh my God. Or watch.
It's pretty amazing to be able to make viewers feel those things that deeply. It's upsetting.
For sure. I'm sorry, and you're welcome.
Yeah, dude. Or like when Amy, did you see the one where it was they had Murr all greased up or something
in
for
front
a
of
fitness
Danica McKellar?
in front of his crush, Danica McKellar.
Yep.
Bro.
Yep. She was such a team player. She was amazing. He was so himself embarrassed. I was like, it was a job well done all around.
That's great. That's great. Joe, we're looking forward to having you in town. It'll be here on Friday, and we hope you'll come back and visit us again. And next time you're in town, come into the studio and see us.
We should do a thing live from the school bus hanging off the top of the roof.
Hell yes.
Yes.
Let's go.
We should do that.
Yeah, that'd be great, right?
Joe
Hey, guys,
Gatto.
thank you so much.
Joe Gatto is at the River City Casino on Friday night, and tickets are available at rivercity.com. Joe Gatto, thank you so much, man.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. I'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
That is Joe Gatto, comedian. His special again is out on YouTube. It's called Messing with People, and he's got a children's book called Where's Barry. Joe is great. The Impractical Jokers.
They're insane.
All great.
They're
man.
insanely funny.
Yes.
And that the fact they grew up together.
I'm really glad that show took off.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Although
Chris and Amy.
It's hard to watch.
It's very hard to watch. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
Beneath your feet lies a hidden threat: earthquakes. Scientists warn it's not if an earthquake will happen, but when. Are you ready? Do you have a plan? The time to act is now. Secure furniture, create an emergency plan, and check your insurance policy. Most homeowner and renter policies don't cover earthquakes. Ask your agent about coverage. When the ground shakes, every second counts. Don't wait for disaster to strike. Visit centralusquake.org to learn more about earthquakes and what you can do to protect yourself and your family.
When was the last time you watched your home movies?
Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for: their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast. We always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, "Have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner." Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
This is Carson Daly, and on behalf of Dr. Alfie, Katie Neal, and all of our guests, I want to thank you for joining us for I'm Listening, Odyssey's mental health initiative. Our goal is to open our minds and hearts to more mental health conversations, because talk saves lives. If you missed the special or want to hear it again, you can find it at imlistening.org and on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. For more resources on your mental health journey, please visit imlistening.org. Thanks again.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
It's warm now, but winter will be here before you know it. That's why Banner Construction is having their pre-winter window event. Choose from Banner's various energy-efficient brands and window price points featuring beautiful Pella windows. Banner is a certified Pella contractor and preferred James Hardie specialist. If you've been considering new windows or a fresh new exterior for your home, see Banner's work at bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050 and have a banner day.
Join St. Louis SC for the final City Block Party of the regular season. Starting at 4 p.m. on Saturday, October 5th, head to Lou Fuse Plaza at City Park for live music, local food, drinks, games, and more. Visit stlcitysc.com for details. SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Is thinning hair or a receding hairline making you self-conscious? Try Hair Grow from New Nordic. Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start feeling your best with Hair Grow. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You entrusted a nursing home with the care of a loved one, but they violated that trust. If your family member has been the victim of nursing home neglect, call Onder Law at 844-BED-SORE.
Brian.
Yes, Sarah?
What is the point of making junk disappear?
We make space for possibility.
Oh, that's huge.
Why do people want junk to disappear?
To make space for possibility.
And who gives them this new space?
We do.
And how do we do it?
We make junk disappear.
And what does a person need to do to make all this happen?
All you have to do is point.
We make space for possibility.
We make space for possibility.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
I'm Scott Jagow. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy?
So I'm looking at a map of the most translated song from every country.
Okay.
The most translated, I'm a little confused. I guess it means like your country produced this song and then around the world.
Okay.
It's most translated. What do you think the most translated song coming out of the United States is?
Coming out of the United States. Is it a Beatles song? Is this like all time or currently?
The Beatles would be UK.
Oh, yeah, you're right, dude.
It's all time. The most translated song all time.
I couldn't even tell you.
So, right. I would have been like White Christmas because I know it's the most recorded, but it's not necessarily the most translated. The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. It's translated in 97 languages. For Canada, My Heart Will Go On, 101.
Oh, because Celine Dion's French Canadian.
Yep. The UK is a Beatles song. Oops, where is it? Yesterday.
That I was going to say Yesterday.
And then Sweden is, so it's Sweden.
Is it ABBA? Are they Swedish?
Oh, are they? Oh, that's a great guess. No, is it Avicii?
The DJ.
Wake Me Up. Yep. Norway, Take On Me.
Love that song.
Yeah.
Wait, they're Norwegian?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They are?
They are. That's what it says.
What? I have never heard that before.
I can't read the other ones because they're in different languages. Have you heard of the band Seether?
Yes.
So South Africa, Seether's song Broken is the number one translated song out of South Africa.
I did not know they were from South Africa.
Yes. Let's see. Oh, Trinidad and Tobago.
Both of them?
Both of them. What is love? What is love?
Wait.
Baby, don't hurt me. Is that
Rick Astley? No, that's not Rick Astley.
Hadaway. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know. No, great. Unbelievable.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Jamaica, Bob Marley.
Well, that
Could You Be
sense.
Loved?
Yeah. Awesome. So, did you see, Amy, that the baseball postseason starts today? It is October. It's perfect. October 1st, cold baseball.
Yeah.
The Rangers and Diamondbacks, after being in the World Series last year, are not going to the postseason. Last time that the World Series teams miss out on the postseason the following year since 2007, when the Cardinals and Tigers missed out. How about that?
There you go.
That's Amy Marks Coors. I'm Chris Ranji. Hour 2 of the show is next on KMOX.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-3183. That's 800-291-3183. 800-291-3183.
Do you have $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000 in debt? Then listen to this. You may not be required to pay it all back.
I was drowning in debt.
I had over $36,000 in debt.
If I would have just made the minimum payments, it would have taken me 59 years to pay off.
Whether it's credit card, medical, or personal loan debt, National Debt Relief can help significantly reduce what you owe. In fact, debt relief payments can be 50% less than your monthly credit card payments. That's right, half as much as you're paying now.
National Debt Relief reduced my debt by over $27,000.
With National Debt Relief, you have a powerful team that knows how to talk to your creditors.
National Debt Relief, they got me out of debt.
More than 550,000 Americans have used National Debt Relief to reduce their debt. Call 800-649-6464 to see if you qualify to settle your debt for a fraction of what you owe. 800-649-6464. That's 800-649-6464. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Tom Ackerman here for Busey Bank, proudly naming Jewish Family Services of St. Louis as our latest building community partner. Each year, JFS supports over 60,000 children, families, and seniors of all religions, races, and abilities with a comprehensive range of services. With the support of partners like Busey Bank and others, JFS alleviates hunger and improves mental health. Learn more at JFS.org.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President of Busey Bank. For 150 years, JFS has been building community by understanding the unique and complex needs of each family they serve so they can connect them with high-quality care at no or low cost. Like Busey, JFS remains steadfast in the belief that every person in St. Louis deserves the chance to not only survive, but to thrive. Join Busey, get involved, and help us continue building the communities we call home.
11 o'clock in mid-America. We've got sun, 68 degrees downtown at the Arch. The U.S. military is preparing to assist Israel should Iran retaliate for Israel's strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. CBS News Pentagon correspondent Cammie McCormick.
A senior White House official says Iran is preparing to imminently launch a ballistic missile attack on Israel, an attack that could be larger than the one in April. Secretary of State Antony Blinken.
We're, of course, tracking events in the Middle East very closely, and the United States is committed to Israel's defense.
The U.S. has warned Iran of severe consequences should it launch an attack. More U.S. troops have arrived in the region, along with more air power.
At midnight, 50,000 dock workers started to strike, shutting down ports along the East Coast and around the Gulf Coast through Texas. CBS's Chris Van Cleve is at the picket line in Newark, New Jersey.
There was a near round-the-clock effort to get things unloaded and out of the port, whether by rail or by trucks, ahead of this deadline. So that the goods that can be stockpiled, if you will, have been.
The longshoremen want a substantial pay raise and protections against automation of jobs done by individual union members.
Decision 2024.
There seems to be more interest than usual in tonight's vice presidential debate.
Most people have never seen either one of these two candidates, and so I think they're really excited to see what they're like.
Todd Graham is professor of debate at SIU. He says Governor Tim Walz is a friendly Midwesterner, but tonight...
Frankly, if you're overly nice, it makes you look a little weak sometimes in the debate.
As for Senator J.D. Vance...
The stereotype he's got is that he's a little odd, so he has to show personality in the debate.
Ford has come up with a device to help women who've had breast cancer wear their seatbelts more comfortably.
Support belt slips over the shoulder belt to cushion and ease how seat belts interact with your chest. That's something that can be painful to women who have had mastectomies.
A lot of people are just holding the belt away from their body, rolling up a towel that wouldn't stay in place, or just putting the belt, behind their back.
Ford's Emily Obert says support belt protects while minimizing discomfort. Ford is making it available for free. Jeff Gilbert, CBS News, Detroit.
The KMOX Business Desk looking for work.
Job openings rose in August to a 3-month high, suggesting employer demand hasn't collapsed. The Labor Department says available positions increased to just over 8 million, led by the construction and state and local governments. And while the hiring rate declined, the rate of layoffs also fell. Kimberly Adams, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's now down 159 points to 42,171. We've got a crash on 6440 going east at McKnight. It's got the left lane closed, shoulder closed as well. Emergency vehicles on 70 going west to Jennings Station. That's got the right lane and shoulder closed. Road work on 70 west at Goodfellow. That's got the right shoulder closed. Otherwise, all the traffic lanes are open. And also on 64, some road work on 6440 west at McCausland. That's got the left lane closed there.
This afternoon will be mostly sunny, breezy, cooler, and much less humid than recent days. I-75, clear and much cooler tonight. Lows will range from near 40 in the coolest suburbs to about 48 downtown at the Arch. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got sunshine. It is 68 in Florissant, 67 St. Peter's, 68 downtown at the Arch, and the feels like is 66. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
KMOX, where every crack of the bat resonates with tradition, passion, and the spirit of Cardinals Nation.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores with you on a Tuesday. It is Tuesday, even though it kind of feels like
Who knows what day it is?
Friday. We know the big news yesterday, the Cardinals press conference. Chaim Bloom will be taking over after John Mozeliak leaves after the 2025 season. We want to get your responses to that press conference yesterday, to the news, to the Cardinals' plan as they forge ahead to make the team competitive again. So again, we want to hear from you.
We have a poll on Twitter.
We do.
So go follow us on Twitter, first of all, at Chris Amy KMOX. And there is a poll, and the question is, after the press conference yesterday, and I'm paraphrasing, do you feel good about the direction of the team? And you have an opportunity to tell us how you feel. You can also leave us a voice message on the Odyssey app. So you heard the Chaim Bloom press conference with John Mozeliak and Bill DeWitt, both junior and the third. They were both there. So tell us how you're feeling. Voice messages on the Odyssey app. Tap the mic button, record it, and send it.
You can also text 314-436-7900. You can text or call that number. We want to hear from you in the upcoming minutes. Just for the next half hour or so, we're going to talk Cardinals baseball, hear from you. I know I want to get Ranj's response to the press conference and what was said and not said. I do want to note, though, we are continuing to follow the breaking news that the White House does believe an Iranian missile attack on Israel is imminent. They have instructed state officials and those at the U.S. Embassy in Tel Aviv to shelter in place. So we are following that story. Obviously, we've seen this situation and the conflict between Israel and Hamas, and then other terrorist organizations like Hezbollah, all of them funded by Iran, the largest state sponsor of terror. I know I was out of the country. I was gone when the pager attack occurred, when Israel was able to infiltrate the supply chain of the Hezbollah terrorists' pagers in what I've seen multiple military experts and former generals and servicemen say was the most precisely targeted attack of an embedded military enemy in the history of the world. It's so precise. The Babylon Bee, which is like the Onion, but kind of from a more conservative standpoint, said, "Oh no, Hezbollah now being run by people that Hezbollah didn't think was important enough to have a pager," which is kind of a funny. And I know I'm like laughing because, they're going after terrorists. It's a terrorist organization, and it's deemed officially a terrorist organization, which has legal consequences. I saw in a couple of news articles from the AP and the Washington Post when Israel was able to take out Hezbollah's leaders, I should say, that the one leader was charismatic and a father figure, which I thought was very odd. They said, I think it was the Washington Post said, some deem him a terrorist. No, some don't deem him a terrorist. He is a officially recognized leader of a terrorist organization. The United States, our allies, recognize Hezbollah as a terrorist organization. I feel like that's important to point out. And so anyway, because of that, which was a massive dismantling of the Hezbollah leadership, looks like the White House is keeping an eye on the situation as Iran, which was already embarrassed when a Hamas leader was taken out in Tehran in a room that Israel, again, was able to target and take out that leader of Hamas in Tehran, which was supposed to be protecting him. Israel has humiliated its enemies in so many ways, and so that is why they are on high alert. So we will continue to watch that situation.
Yeah, I suppose it's possible nothing happens,
It is,
or
yeah.
if something does happen, it could be days, it could be weeks. They could, try to lull you into the false sense of security, and then they strike when you're not expecting it, which is what a lot of military operations end up being. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be what we should keep an eye on, and I know that we're going to, is how it directly affects us. We already have about something like 40,000 troops in the Middle East. We've always had a presence over there, and they are sending more. We are sending more, something close to about 43 total thousand. So there a few more thousand troops are heading to the Middle East, and so that'll up the total to about 43. And I think it's for people who may not have that perspective or realize the military presence we have there and have always have and continue to have. I mean, I think we think of it as like, well, we pulled out of Afghanistan, so we probably don't have anybody over there. No, we have tens of thousands of troops who are there, who are always there, and will probably continue to be there for years to come. And we're going to send an additional few thousand.
I think it's also worth noting, too, I heard several commentators were asking whether or not we would see Hezbollah after they saw their leadership taken out in incredible, precise intelligence attacks by the Israeli military, whether or not Hezbollah would then escalate it even more. And several of the experts said, honestly, I don't think Hezbollah has the capability right now. They lost their leadership. They were decimated. So the escalation would come presumably from Iran itself. Another one of the Hamas leaders who was taken out, Fatah Sharif, who was taken out in Lebanon during some of the strikes in Lebanon. He was the head of Hamas in Lebanon. He was also the head of the UNRWA schools, which is the UN Works and Relief Agency for Palestinians. So there were 40,000 kids in these schools that are being taught with curriculum approved by the head of Hamas. So when you talk about brainwashing, perpetuating conflict, and literal terrorist curriculum, that was what was taking place in these UNRWA schools. And that he was the head of Hamas in Lebanon as well. So,
whatever happens here, the thing to look out for is, I think militarily, temporarily, you can absolutely limit what they are capable of doing. I'm a little more concerned about, it's difficult to militarily defeat ideas, especially when it's not I don't know if I want to call it a government or a nation state that is behind it. It's very difficult when people have an ideal and are willing to do anything to defend that ideal, and they feel like they have been wronged. Right or wrong, they feel like they have been wronged, and how they respond to this. And, I think it's very difficult to, with a military action alone, to try and win the battle of ideas that way. Because idea is it's very difficult to kill an idea. And I don't know. It does concern me what happens in the future. It concerns me what happens over the next 5 to 10 years. And I'm guessing, Amy, that for the rest of our lives, there's always going to be something over there way past we are gone.
And there will be, and there always has been. It just comes in waves, right? Like,
sure.
When you have an ideological war, like, for instance, Hamas, it's in their charter to end the Jewish people, to end Israel. And you do have radical Islamic terrorist groups, Hezbollah, Hamas, rather, right? Al-Qaeda. Look what's happening with the Taliban, right? You have an ideological war that's going to create conflict over and over again, because Israelis will continue to fight for their right to exist against an enemy that wants to eliminate them completely. And as one person said, with the killing of Sharif in Lebanon, it said at least one preacher of hate and terror is gone. And it is important to note, and this is from a friend in that area. She said, in Lebanon, Hezbollah is oppressing the people of Lebanon. That's why Israel said our war is not with the people of Lebanon, it's with Hezbollah. So here's what happened. In Lebanon, which is a very poor country because all the money goes to terrorism, they have electricity curfews, right? So their homes at certain times, they don't have electricity. And guess what the people found out? The terror tunnels have electricity all the time. And so there were some protests from the people saying, all of our money is going to fund terror. You guys have electricity. You have food and water. And of course, they're not allowed to protest, right? If you protest against a terror organization, you'll probably get imprisoned or killed. And so the oppression of the people in Lebanon by Hezbollah, that also needs to be noted because they are hurting. The people of Lebanon are hurting under Hezbollah.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Meanwhile, there's a story we really haven't spent a whole lot of time on over the last couple of days, which we should. There is and it is arguably the biggest story in the country, what's happening right now, and that is what is happening in the southeast part of the country. The Hurricane Helene that came through the Gulf and worked its way up north through Florida into the Appalachia part of the country. North Carolina, the western part of North Carolina, parts of it are absolutely devastated right now. Close to 137 people, or around 137, are confirmed killed. And they're, I think, just under, the numbers keep fluctuating, but the number is close to 600 people that are still missing, that are unaccounted for. And in some of these areas, there's no cell service, there's no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So they may not be able to reach out to people and say, hey, I'm okay. So I would imagine we're going to hear a lot of those stories ultimately, but roads are washed away. It's almost impossible in many of these areas to get in.
Yeah.
And something about this that is bothering me over the last 24, 48 hours are people who are trying to politicize this and who are saying, where's the federal government? Well, FEMA's on the ground and getting to the places they can get to. But some of the places are impassable at the moment. And in some cases, they can't even get there by air because there's nowhere to land.
You know how there are always people who refuse to leave their homes, which I empathize with, especially if like an older couple like we've survived. And they kept saying this is an unsurvivable storm surge. And you can't force people out of their homes, right? That's not. So officials were saying, you need to leave. It's not survivable. If you don't leave, you need to use a marker, a permanent marker, and write your name and identifying information like on your leg or on your arm, because in case you die. I mean, how awful is that?
Absolutely. But that's Florida. We're talking about parts of North Carolina where people would flee to.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
If they thought that there was a storm coming, it's something like 6 hours from the Atlantic.
So,
Asheville, North Carolina is not anywhere close to the ocean. They're 6 hours away. And this all happened up on elevated land. It's absolutely devastating.
And two, we're talking about the worst case with Asheville. Think of when your power goes out, how disruptive it is. If you don't have cell service, how much you'd worry about contacting your kids. I ran with a buddy today. His parents, they're 2 hours away from Asheville.
Yeah.
He said they haven't had electricity in days.
Yeah,
they're stuck there, and that's 2 hours away from Asheville, which is 6 hours away from the ocean. I mean, the extent of this and the disruption it's causing.
Yeah. And it's been happening in Georgia. There are parts of Georgia that are devastated by this. South Carolina, North Carolina, and we are obviously thinking about the people there. But that's as bad as it gets. And all you can hope is that it doesn't happen like this ever again. And I fear that storms are going to continue to get worse. And some of the evidence is suggesting that will happen. Amy Marks-Kors, Chris Ranji. Again, we want to hear from you at Chris Amy KMOX. If you could leave us a voice message. What do you think of the direction of the Cardinals after yesterday's press conference? Tell us what you think, and also vote in our poll at Chris Amy KMOX on Twitter. It is Chris. It is Amy. It is KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
More and more now, I'm hearing when all my customers that are calling and setting up appointments for looking at different types of furnace and air conditioners, they're calling in because of all the years that I've said there is a common sense approach, and they want to see what that is. Well over 95% of the people are very happy that they did call me. I'm not saying that they purchased anything from me, but they're extremely happy that they did call me. It's not being cheaper. It's being explained in such a way to where they can make an honest decision for themselves and their family and what's best for their pocketbook. When you start getting prices for new furnace and air conditioners, call me. It's one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Again, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600, or on the internet, it is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
We have over $34 trillion in national debt. Where do you think the money to pay for that is going to come from? Taxes. Believe it or not, taxes are at historic lows right now, but how much longer will that last? A Roth IRA conversion might be a good option when planning for your retirement because you can pay lower taxes now and avoid potentially higher taxes later. The FIRA Capital Management Team, formerly Heisey Advisory Group, have seen taxes rise and fall. They know what options you have to potentially reduce the amount of taxes you pay in retirement. Call the team at FIRA Capital Management and schedule your tax analysis today. 314-328-4400. Uncle Sam needs money. Don't let him take it all from you. 314-328-4400. Investing involves risk. Always consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding a Roth conversion, as there may be additional tax considerations. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
If you're thinking about selling your home, I'm sure there are two things that you want: certainty and the most money, right? This is Debbie Monterey, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know that the agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis's real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first call when looking for an agent. Gloria does not make empty promises. She provides written guarantees. What does that mean for you? Certainty. Certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she will buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis's real estate expert, Gloria Liu, at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onderlaw, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onderlaw takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9-MILLION.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
From city lights to neighborhood stories, KMOX's local newsroom keeps you informed. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, Amy. Hey, Chris. Love the show. I'm a listener from DGS, and now I say Daddy's got it every time I get coffee or any kind of food. Love you guys.
Yes.
You're corrupting the public.
Yes, Nick.
No, that's not Nick. That's
That is
not
Nick. That is Nick,
No,
and that is
not-
exactly what
not
you're
that
supposed
that's
to do.
not Nick. I meant Nick. That's not what you're supposed to take away from the show.
Yeah, it's one of the things you can take away so many things from the show.
But not
One of
that
them
one.
is when you go to the coffee place and you buy coffee and you're with somebody, say Daddy's got it.
You
It's
said
great.
that with Andrew.
I
You say
did.
it with everybody.
I do.
Didn't you say it to Randy Carricker a long time ago too?
I probably did.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he's harassed the media of St. Louis this
I've
way.
harassed everybody in the cutest way possible.
Is that why you're like, I don't need to take that harassment video? I already know
I
what
knew.
I'm
I knew
doing."
all those. I
Yeah.
aced them.
Oh,
I did my
gosh.
harassment training and I aced it.
Have you heard Michael Kelly's story about that, right? So
I think so.
John Hancock and Michael Kelly, they don't check their email. I don't even think they know how to get into their work
They
email.
don't.
So they missed all the work stuff.
They do.
So of course they get emailed the mandatory sexual harassment training and all of that, right? And he didn't get the email. So he was like one of the last ones to take it or whatever. But our boss was talking to him, is like, okay, you need to do this now. But his mom texted and tried to call, and he just responded, I can't talk now, Mom. I'm dealing with a sexual harassment thing. She's like, what did you do?
I love that.
It sounded like an incident.
Well, you know what? People around here need to be careful because when you work in a radio cluster, like we do at Odyssey St. Louis, and there are 5 other radio stations here, there's something about the industry where it just kind of, it's very, look, KMOX is very buttoned up. We're a different.
What are you implying right now? Are you implying that
we are a different operation, Amy?
Okay.
We're on the up and up.
Well,
But most radio stations, you got to watch out for those sick buttholes. They are bad people.
I do think radio is super skeevy.
It can be very, very skeevy.
But not us, because
not
we're
us.
KMOX.
We're KMOX. We wanted to hear your thoughts on the press conference from yesterday, what the Cardinals are doing moving forward. And here's Tom.
Messages for Mr. DeWitt. And I must respectfully say, what a bunch of bird crap. I can't imagine as a business owner going to my customers saying, I know my performance has been substandard for the past 2 years, but I promise you, if you'll tolerate 1 or 2 more substandard years, there could be some improvements in the future. But in the meantime, if you don't mind paying me a premium amount for my season tickets, which I've had for 15 years, there might be some sort of light at the end of the tunnel. But I think that's what the White Sox said too. Maybe I'll become a White Sox fan. At least we know what to expect there. Thank you. Bye.
Well, let me just tell you, you do not want to become a White Sox fan.
Don't become a White
There's
Sox
nothing
fan.
good about that.
Although I do feel like this guy could have a career reading children's books.
Yeah, he's very relaxing.
It didn't
Tom
that
is
feel
very
like I was
relaxing.
listening to a bedtime story.
Yeah, kind of. Here's what I'll say about
It's a great voice.
What I'll say about the Cardinals' direction, at least in terms of investing in the minor leagues, and even if they decrease payroll for this upcoming season, okay, it's fine. It's not my favorite, but there has to be investment at the lower level. But I really don't want it long term to be the plan that they are investing at the minor league level and they're unwilling to ever overextend themselves when it comes to free agency or the major league roster. Because oftentimes actually, the way you put together the best teams is you have that strong foundational minor league homegrown talent, and then you supplement it with real premier talent, and not like the best mid-tier free agent available. Like you have to be willing to really be I think competitive when you make offers for premier type players like Bryce Harper, who would look great in a Cardinals uniform right now. You have to be willing to do stuff like that. And I hope that they are more willing to do that. I doubt that that's what's going to happen. But yes, you do have to make a stronger foundation than what they have in terms of the minors.
So when they say there's going to be less spending at the big league level to pour it into the development level, how much of that money are we talking? Like I'm picturing a glass, right? A glass of water.
Yeah.
And you're pouring some out of one glass into
know.
another glass.
I don't know. And I don't think they're going to tell us directly, well, you'll find out. You'll find out when the payroll is set for 2025. You'll know how much they've taken away from the major league payroll and hopefully, how it's been invested in the minors. But they have to develop players better. They got to go back to what they were in the past.
And how easy is it to find good coaches at that level? Quality coaches. Is it easier?
It shouldn't be that hard as long as you're willing to pay. As long as you're willing to pay and find the right guys. In fact, let's get Bernie Miklasz' thoughts on this. We know he's got a lot of them, and he joins us every Tuesday and Thursday after the 11:30 news. Bernie Miklasz will talk Cardinals when we come back on KMOX.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. The director of Siteman Cancer Center, Dr. Tim Eberlein.
When they have a comprehensive cancer center, and of course, Siteman is the only comprehensive cancer center and only NCI designated center in the entire state of Missouri, and in fact, in this region.
Special thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. This was only a test.
Hey folks, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house on the walls, patios, walkways, porch, or chimneys? If so, this might be a great time to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. What's tuck pointing? It's the removal of old mortar and the replacement of new mortar on a wall or chimney. Sometimes that mortar can become loose, missing, or deeply eroded. We've used the Morelli team to tuck point the Brennan home several times, and in fact, this winter, we noticed the bricks that line the ground near our porch in the backyard had gotten out of line and looked pretty cattywampus. One call, Morelli Tuck Pointing, the job was done. Morelli's the company that's won the Angie's List Super Service Award every year, back to back to back, since 2005. Check out their reviews on the Google, Angie's List, and Better Business Bureau websites. The Masonry Specialists, 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
At 11:30, sun and 69 degrees downtown at the Arch. U.S. officials tell CBS News an attack from Iran on Israel could be as large or larger than the attack on April 13th. Iran has been ready to launch an attack on short notice since early August when it threatened to retaliate for the assassination of Hamas leaders in Tehran. Emergency vehicles on 70 West at Jennings Station in the right lane. Some road work on 70 West at Goodfellow on the right shoulder. High today is 75, less humid for tonight. Low in the 40s for tomorrow. High is 74. Right now it's 69 degrees downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating at scottleeheating.com.
Scott Lee Heating's premier dealer distinction means you'll be working with the best the industry offers. Learn more about our special savings opportunities on Lennox products by calling 314-756-9444 or visit us online at scottleeheating.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9-MILLION.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Okay, boys, here we go. When they take the field. Take the field. Let's have some fun. We take you to the game. They don't like us. We don't like them. Thursday night, it's the Buccaneers and Falcons. And you can hear the game here. Sightman Cancer Center, game time 6:30 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Hi, I'm Paul Goldschmidt.
I'm Cardinals outfielder Lars Nootbaar.
I'm Woodson Contreras.
Now, Chris and Amy give you the birds.
I'm Adam Wainwright, and you're listening to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It would have been very difficult for me to go recruit senior leadership, knowing that at some point I would be stepping down. And I didn't want to be disingenuous and not have that honest conversation or be transparent. And so as we looked at trying to bring someone in this past year, we ended up bringing in Chaim, and he's been, a really valuable resource.
That is the voice of President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak, with Matt Pauley on KMOX last night on Sports Open Line. This just a few hours after the press conference, which took place at Busch Stadium, announcing what the succession plan is for Mr. Mozeliak. And this Bernie Miklasz report is sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. We welcome in our friend who's with us every Tuesday and Thursday after 11:30. It is Bernie Miklasz. Good morning, Bernie.
Good morning, and as always, wonderful to be with you. How's everything?
Oh, we're doing okay. How are you feeling after that press conference yesterday?
Well, I thought the highlight was just introducing Chaim Bloom, and Chaim Bloom having a chance to speak for a little bit. It's just great to hear a new voice. I do think that it's fair to say that there's a bit of fatigue in the messaging. We've been hearing from the same people, like literally for how many years now? I mean, it's been a long time. And I think when you have a new voice in such an important role, I just think it's good for the morale, and it does convey, it does send the message that change is coming. So Chaim Bloom was impressive in the time that he spoke. I was a little surprised that they kind of ushered him out of there after the main formal press conference. I wish he would have stuck around to answer some questions from reporters. It isn't that he was ducking anything. I think that was the plan. Listen, I don't want to be a phony. I think people know where I stand. I would have liked to have seen Chaim Bloom take over now, but I do understand the magnitude of the job that he has, which is a huge, huge project to get the minor leagues and player development squared away, and which means a lot of hiring, a lot of technology work, a lot of everything. And that pretty much is probably I would say that is a full-time job. I get it. So I understand the reasons they're doing it this way. And I look forward to Chaim Bloom, being the person in charge, period, a year from now, because I think he's just the kind of leader that they need. I would have liked to have heard maybe some more discussion about the plans for 2025, more specific things in mind, Ali Marmol, the coaching staff, but they're going to get to all that. So that's only a mild, it's not even a complaint, just an observation. Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, and I was going to say, along those lines of what you would have liked to hear, I agree with you. And that's why yesterday, that press conference where it was touted or couched as a big announcement, to me, felt less like a big announcement and more like someone who was forced to make a statement, because there wasn't really anything revelatory in that news conference.
No, because I think we knew that Chaim Bloom was going to be a huge part of the future. It's just a matter of how they assimilate it. Like, when exactly does he become the top guy, the top person in the baseball operation? The other thing too is that I think it's kind of funny that it's like the Cardinals flatly refused to use the term rebuild, and they don't want to perceived as being a rebuilding team. And listen, there are different categories of rebuilding. I don't think anyone thinks, nor should they think, that this is going to be a complete tear down, blow it all up type thing. But it's rebuilding when you have a press conference and you disclose that you are going to pump a tremendous amount of resources into rebuilding your minor league player development system and infrastructure. It is And to do that, they also announced you are going to be cutting payroll at the major league level. So you're going to be reallocating your resources. That is the epitome of a rebuild, not a tear down, not a blow up, but a rebuild. And I don't know why it's so hard for the Cardinals, frankly, to just not be straightforward and come out and, you know, treat everyone like an adult, treat everyone like, hey, this is what we're doing. We think it's going to take a couple years. We're probably going to take a step back in terms of wins and losses, but it's really important to get back to what this organization did the best for a long time: player development, drafting, homegrown players, always on the march to St. Really need to do this now. So if it means taking a small step back for a couple of years and letting young guys and young pitchers get full opportunities, we think that's a worthwhile investment. I mean, how many Cardinals fans, I'll throw it to you guys, how many Cardinals fans do you think would just say, well, that's crazy, I'm out, I'll never, you know, I'm sure there will be some, but I think if you present it in a way that's just really straightforward, without a lot of frills, without bells and whistles, I think most people will understand, given the decline of Cardinals baseball, that this type of step is necessary.
I always wondered this, Bernie, you know, since I've been back covering St. Louis sports for the last several years, and we've kind of seen this direction the team is taking, and it feels like it just slowly, you know, gradually gotten to this point where it's not what it used to be. I always wondered, wouldn't people support wouldn't the fan base support a rebuild? Like you said, they've been so reluctant to ever say they're rebuilding. But don't you think after watching the Astros do it and watching the Cubs do it and what comes on the other end, that if you just flat out said, we are rebuilding and here's our plan to do it, don't you think the fan base would be supportive?
Yes, because especially, I don't think any of the fans are happy with the downward trajectory of Cardinals baseball. Like, if you permit me to just break a couple things down, you know, between 2000 and 2015, the Cardinals competed in 165 postseason games. That was the most of any team in the majors. They won the amount of postseason games that they won were number one in the majors, and 19 more postseason wins than the next team in the National League. There were 2 World Series, 4 National League pennants. You had 3 100-win seasons. And so the Cardinals were at the top of the heap, and they were there for a very long time, to Bill DeWitt's credit. But since the Cardinals won their last World Series in 2011, 9 other teams have won World Series. 3 have won more than one. And as far as winning a pennant, 14. The Cardinals' last pennant was in 2013. 14 teams since then have won pennants, National League, American League. The Cardinals in the last 8 full seasons, not counting the COVID season, the last 8 full seasons, they've missed the playoffs 5 times, even though it's easier to make the playoffs. They've missed 5 times in the last 8 full seasons. So if I'm sitting there and I'm a fan, I would say, well, yeah, something's got to change. They've kind of lost their touch. This thing's really headed in a very ominous direction. So they need to take action. The first step they're taking is a big one, because what did the Cardinals do that was so great that sustained all that winning? They brought Jeff Luhnow in. Bill DeWitt made an enlightened hire. Jeff Luhnow came in with the analytics, a new way to evaluate personnel, totally set up an entirely new farm system, player development system, and the Cardinals went on this incredible run. Well, Bill DeWitt's trying to get back to that now. So knowing what we know about their history, I'm not sure why anybody would object to that, because it's overdue. If anything, be mad that it took them so long to realize they had to do this.
Hey, Bernie, real quick, we need to pause for just a moment. We have some breaking news, so let us send it to the KMOX newsroom. Here's Michael Calhoun.
Thank you, Chris. We've got Iran, which has launched missiles at Israel. We take you to CBS News, 24/7 coverage. Which right now is showing a scene with several lights, points of light in the sky that are raining down on top of Jerusalem at this point. You can hear the natural sound of that. Points of light coming up from the ground and intercepting some of those, what we assume to be Iranian missiles. that are raining down on Jerusalem right now. Let's take a listen right now to CNN.
We are listening and we are watching.
Now, this appears to be the same view from both CBS and CNN. The Chiron on CNN says that this is Tel Aviv. The graphic on CBS said Jerusalem, but this does appear to be Tel Aviv, which is under attack from Iran, it appears at this point. And so as this situation develops, we'll continue to follow it. So far, no continuous coverage from the network, just these raw images and sounds, as you can hear from Israel.
Sarah, I'm going to go to Jeremy Diamond in northern Israel. Jeremy?
Dana, from our vantage point in northern Israel, facing south, we have been able to see dozens of these apparent intercepts happening in the night sky above us. We have seen, we saw those intercept missiles going up in the air, and now we are seeing, as you're seeing one on our screen right now, coming down. They almost look like fireworks that are breaking up or shooting stars of some sort. What I was also able to see earlier was explosions, and I had seen videos of these explosions previously. It is often that Arrow defense system that intercepts ballistic missiles in the first layers of space, and it creates a kind of explosion that looks, I don't know how else to say it other than it looks almost like a jellyfish of sorts. And that is coming from those intercepts that happen in the first layers of space by the Arrow missile defense system. And I saw multiple of those happening just now. We know, of course, that the threat from Iran tonight was anticipated to be those ballistic missiles that fly at hypersonic speeds and that often fly at very high altitudes before coming down on their targets. And that's why Israel has that Arrow missile defense system in addition to the Iron Dome, which we have heard so much about. But we have been witnessing dozens potentially of missiles and intercepts happening in the sky above us. It's hard for us to tell exactly how close it is, but as we know, many of the targets that we anticipated from talking to Israeli and American officials was going to be targets in central Israel as well as in southern Israel. And now, of course, we are waiting to see if any of those missiles hit their targets. But of course, beyond that, the debris from some of these intercepts could also potentially be very damaging, very destructive, and very deadly, of course. So we will be monitoring very closely reports in the coming minutes and hours to see what the actual impact.
That is CNN's Jeremy Diamond. It appears in Tel Aviv. Let's take a listen to our partners at CBS News 24/7.
After they took out the leader of Hezbollah, Nassan Nasrallah, recently, and what they describe, though, as a limited ground incursion. And we did get word this morning that this attack was imminent. And we also remember that there were attacks toward Hezbollah members where pagers and walkie-talkies that they were wearing exploded and were detonated. That also injured civilians and children. All of this heightening tensions in the Middle East at such a sensitive time as we approach the one-year anniversary of the October 7th attacks by Hamas toward Israeli civilians. So this is the breaking news event that you and I are watching in real time, live, this footage coming to us from Tel Aviv. We're going to continue to get more information. I think we have just getting some new information into my ear, and I only want to bring you what we can confirm and what's accurate. So once again, you're looking at live images coming to us from Tel Aviv tonight after U.S. intelligence warned that there would be an imminent attack from Iran toward the Israeli state. We just watched as we saw what appeared to be the Iron Dome defense system intercept incoming missiles. Let's try and listen in and see what else we can learn.
All right, you've been listening to live coverage. The IDF says that Iran has fired missiles at Israel, and folks across the country, Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, ordered to shelter in place. We're going to continue to monitor this. If CBS comes on with a network-wide special report, we'll certainly bring that to you. For now, it's 11:47. We'll send it back to Chris and Amy in Studio B.
All right, Michael Calhoun, appreciate the update. Again, Iran has launched a missile attack on Israel. Just happened a few moments ago. If anything more develops on the situation, we will continue to bring it to you on KMOX. Of course, the newsroom is keeping an eye on it. Michael Calhoun is keeping an eye on it. If something else does happen here, we will send it back to Michael on KMOX. And we had to say goodbye to Bernie for the day. What we will do is we are going to come back. We will continue our coverage here on the Chris and Amy show. And again, if anything changes, if anything breaks, any more developments in Israel, we will send it back there to Michael Calhoun in the newsroom, who is monitoring the situation. It is the Chris and Amy show on KMOX.
It's warm now, but winter will be here before you know it. That's why Banner Construction is having their pre-winter window event. Choose from Banner's various energy-efficient brands and window price points featuring beautiful Pella windows. Banner is a certified Pella contractor and preferred James Hardie specialist. If you've been considering new windows or a fresh new exterior for your home, see Banner's work at bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050 and have a banner day.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
Touchdown! Kansas City! Can't make it to Kansas City for the big game? No problem. Experience every Kansas City Chiefs game like you're in the front row at Valley Sports Live in Ballpark Village. Join fellow Chief fans on game day and feel the roar of the crowd right here in St. Louis for the Chiefs. Chiefs watch parties presented by Jim Beam. Don't miss a moment of the action. Head to KMOX.com/events to reserve your table now and cheer the Chiefs to victory.
Join the movement to end breast cancer on October 19th. By supporting the American Cancer Society making strides against breast cancer, you're helping save lives through groundbreaking research discovery and patient support. Get info or donate at makingstrideswalk.org/St. Louis Mo.
We interrupt with a special report from the Missouri Lottery. With a new millionaire every 8.1 days last year, there's no shortage of Missouri Lottery winners. However, there is currently a shortage of confetti. This may impact all confetti-related activities, hullabaloos, whoop-de-doos, jamborees, shebangs, and any and all festive goings-ons. Rest assured, Missouri Lottery winners will receive a single confetto with every big win for the time being. We apologize for the shortage, but not the winning. Thus concludes this report from the Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome. Play responsibly.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Join St. Louis SC for the final City Block Party of the regular season. Starting at 4 p.m. on Saturday, October 5th, head to Lou Fuse Plaza at City Park for live music, local food, drinks, games, and more. Visit stlcitysc.com for details.
Hi, this is Ken Newbold at Newbold Toyota and Newbold BMW. I am so confident that my team will take care of every one of your service and sales needs. I'll give you my cell phone. 618-791-5470. Newbold Toyota or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. I'd love to hear from you, but don't call me between 5 and 6 p.m. weekday afternoons because I'll be listening to Michael Calhoun on Total Information PM. Reliable, balanced, great interviews, local, national, and international. Total Information PM.
Hey, I'm Michael Calhoun. Join me beginning at 5 right after the Dave Glover Show on the trusted voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It is the Chris and Amy show on KMOX, and moments ago, within about the last 15 minutes, maybe less than that, Iran has, in fact, launched a missile attack on Israel. It appears, just by looking at the CNN coverage, and it's really everywhere right now, but just looking at it, it does appear that there's something going on in the sky, but there was a barrage of missiles that came in about 10 or 12 minutes ago. It appeared that some of them did hit land. We don't know how many of them were shot down, how much damage there is, but the images that we're looking at right now, many of them are from a distance. You see Tel Aviv, the skyline off in the distance. So it's very difficult to tell exactly what the damage looks like right now, but an attack has been launched, and we don't know if it will continue or how long it's going to continue, but we will continue to keep an eye on it.
The world's largest state sponsor of terror has launched an attack on the only democracy in the Middle East. And I do want to say this. This is what globalizing the Intifada looks like. All these college students and protesters who for months have been screaming under an embarrassment of freedom and coddling and pandering. They've been screaming, praising Hamas, praising freedom fighters, saying from the river to the sea, under the very protection of the freedom they condemn in their ignorance. And let me say, this is from the river to the sea. I've been saying this for months. From the river to the sea means the destruction of Israel. So when you see these terrorists and cowards in Iran, which is the largest state sponsor of terror, launching missiles at the only democracy in the Middle East, you are praising terrorists who are trying to kill democracy, women's rights, LGBT rights, religious freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom from cruel and unusual punishment, all those freedoms that you have here in the States. Israel's the ones that got them. Israel has it. That's why, again, from the river to the sea is so dangerous. That's what Iran says. They also say death to America. So you see they're launching missiles at Israel, and Israel will fight. Israel has a right to defend itself. Israel should defend itself. Israel will defend itself from terrorists.
We will see how much more comes out of this. And if this ends up being a larger scale operation on both sides here, or if this ends up just being an attack in this moment from Iran, and that's the end of it.
And we don't know. We don't know what it is.
Could be,
and that's why
it could
we're
be the start of
watching.
something. It could be not. It could just be a, hey, here's a response to what's been happening over the last couple of weeks from us. And, this is it.
And
we
that's
don't
why
know.
Israel has the Iron Dome to protect itself from missiles that are being launched at it from enemies. It is surrounded by enemies and has to protect itself.
From the vantage point that we are looking at the moment, from the images of paying attention to all the monitors here, the different news stations that are covering it, you can't really see a whole lot of ground damage. It appears that a lot of it is well off into the distance. Again, like I mentioned a moment ago, we are looking at images of Tel Aviv and the skyline of Tel Aviv, but it's very difficult to tell just how much damage there has been to this point. We will, of course, keep an eye on it. It is the Chris and Amy show. Hour 3 is coming up next. And by the way, if we need to, we will dip back into CBS national coverage as we monitor the situation in Israel.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
There are nearly 70 million people that are currently using Medicare and taking Social Security. When you retire, you could be one of them. The question is, have you figured out how best to use these programs? That's where Steve All and the All Financial Group can help. Join Steve and his team on October 23rd at the All Financial Group office, where Steve will discuss Social Security. And special guest and Medicare consultant Scott Stream will present on Medicare. This event is complimentary, but you must qualify to attend. Call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Scott Stream and Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC are not affiliated.
It's 12 o'clock in Mid-America.
KMOX is covering breaking news.
CBS News special report. Israel says Iran has fired missiles at Israel. The White House had said an attack could be imminent and involve severe consequences. Secretary of State Antony Blinken.
We're, of course, tracking events in the Middle East very closely, and the United States is committed to Israel's defense. We're watching developments, as I said, very carefully this morning.
Residents of Jerusalem have been ordered to shelter in place. The attack came as Israeli forces carried out a ground invasion in southern Lebanon, one that military spokesman Daniel Hagari said found evidence proving Hezbollah planned an October 7th style attack.
We'll do it as fast as we can, and we will take down the threat. It's a threat next to a border. Any other sovereign country will do the same. This is a murderous terror organization in the size of an army, and we will take care of it. We will push Hezbollah back from border.
CBS News special report. I'm Cammie McCormick.
This newscast is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Plenty of sunshine this afternoon, breezy and quite comfortable with a high of 75. Clear tonight and much cooler, down to 40 in the coolest suburbs, 48 downtown at the Arch. Sunny tomorrow, high 74. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Sell your home with trust, confidence, and written guarantees. Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty is St. Louis's real estate expert. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Right now, sun and 70 downtown at the Arch.
This is continuous coverage from KMOX News.
Let's take you right back to CBS News, continuous coverage of the events in Israel.
Limited ground operations
in Lebanon. So once again, breaking news on CBS News 24/7 from the IDF officials. Iran has fired missiles at Israel, and now the reaction, they're on the ground. Let's listen in to CBS News coverage, taking it from here.
Good evening from Beirut. Well, tonight, as we come on air, we bring you a breaking news story. Israel has been attacked by Iran. Iranian missiles were fired in the last 20 minutes or so. These are live pictures of the skyline of Tel Aviv this evening. We have seen the sites of interceptions, missile interceptions from Israel's Iron Dome defense system, and heard the sound of sirens. Now, they have been sounding right across the country in the last few minutes, and we're going to keep you right up to date here on the program tonight. This came about just in the last hour or so. The first indications that Iran was planning this attack came from the US. US officials briefing that Iran was preparing to imminently launch an attack towards Israel, and Israel urged its citizens to head towards safety, to move into shelters. The IDF said it would do what it could to protect people there. Now, the difference between this attack that we're seeing now and the one which Israel was subjected to by Iran back in April is the type of missiles that are being fired and the length of time that it is taking them to actually reach Israel. You remember back in April, it took several hours because drones and cruise missiles were fired first. And that gave allied forces, the US and the UK, the chance to actually get their planes in the sky and shoot some of those missiles down. Tonight, it happened much more quickly. And we've seen those dramatic pictures of Iron Dome interceptions and people rushing for cover in the main population centers in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Well, let's head straight to Washington, D.C. tonight and our correspondent, Tom Bateman. Tom, the US warned of this in the last hour or so, and it was launched very, very quickly after that.
That's right, Anna. I mean, to give you an idea of the sense of urgency in this building, we had been expecting a briefing from officials in the next few minutes. That has now been delayed. The Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, who was due to give some comments at a different event, has now pulled down those comments. That has all been cancelled, as I think it's pretty clear here officials are simply watching and assessing the scale of this Iranian attack, aerial attack, on Israel. Now, as you say, the first indications we got that this was coming were merely hours ago when the White House began to issue lines suggesting that an Iranian missile attack, including ballistic missiles, was imminent, they said. Now, my sense from officials here was that they believed it was coming within hours. And now here we are with those very vivid images of an Iranian strike onto Israel. Where do we go from here in terms of the US? Well, they have said that they were postured and poised and ready to defend Israel. Remember that attack back in April involved 300 missiles and drones. And we had American destroyers at sea firing aerial defenses. The UK also involved in that at the time, and other, crucially, allies in the region, US allies in the region involved in bringing down many of those missiles. And the majority of those at that time didn't get through. So I think now there is an assessment about exactly what is going on this time round when there has been far less notice. And one other key point, Anna, the White House in its statement earlier said that there would be severe consequences, in its words, for the Iranians for a direct military attack against the Israelis. Well, that is now happening. And my sense from this building is that the Americans have been signaling, messaging to the Iranians that this time around they won't expend the same kind of effort in trying to rein in any Israeli retaliation to what we're seeing now.
You're listening to live coverage on KMOX from the BBC via CBS News of the launching of an attack from Iran into Israel. Let's take you back now to the BBC.
10 or 15 seconds. There have been a lot of them through today, but they seem to be increasing in intensity as well. Let's head to Jerusalem. Our correspondent John Donison is there. John, I hope you're safe. What's happened there in the last hour?
Well, about 35 minutes ago, the sirens went off all over Israel. We got an alert through on our phone. We ran to the safe room in the BBC bureau here. And as that was happening, we heard the sound of loud explosions overhead, which sounded like missiles being shot down. We've only just been able to come back outside once those sirens stopped. Now, Israeli television is reporting that 140 missiles were launched from Iran and that most of them were shot down. We don't have any word of any casualties at the moment or any damage. I should tell you separately, we've got confirmation from Israeli police this evening that in Jaffa, which is near Tel Aviv, Israel's biggest city, there has been a shooting attack with a number of casualties, and this happened near a light railway line, and images on Israeli television there showed two men, one of them armed with an assault rifle.
John, thank you for bringing us up to date. John Donnison there, our correspondent in Jerusalem. I want to take you now to northern Israel, to the area very close to the Lebanese border. Our Middle East correspondent, Lucy Williamson, is there. Lucy, what have you seen and heard?
Well, just a few minutes ago, we heard a series of loud, what sounded like loud interceptions overhead. And that came after sirens sounded up here, right up here in the north by the border with Lebanon, as well as across the country. Just a few minutes ago, the Israeli army put out a message saying Iran's attack is continuing. That hasn't yet been updated. And as you heard John say there, we're being told that perhaps more than 100 missiles have been fired from Iran, perhaps as many as 140. Of course, Israel's army is massed at this border. It's less than 24 hours or about 24 hours since those ground troops were sent into Lebanon, presumably the trigger for this reaction by Iran.
Lucy, thank you. Even as you're speaking there, I'm just reading that the Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps say that those missile launches are in retaliation for the killing of Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, but also Ismail Haniyeh, who was killed in Tehran, of course, a couple of months ago, the political leader of Hamas as well. Lucy, is this something that Israel were expecting, were bracing for?
Yeah, we've heard both the army spokesman today talk about this threat, but also Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister, saying the country needs to stand firm. The country is fighting Iran's axis of evil, and he's all along he's linked the Hezbollah, Israel's fight with Hezbollah across this border to the wider battle.
You're watching live coverage from our partners at the BBC while we await a CBS News special report. Once again, Iran firing missiles at Israel. And you could see there in that video, the Iron Dome doing its level best to try to keep those 100 to 140 missiles from landing. Right now, we know a lot of you seeing those images.
You've been listening again to coverage from the BBC via CBS News of the missile attack from Iran on Israel. Chris and Amy, if we could take a quick break here, get a few commercials in, and then we'll come back with a CBS News special report. Stay tuned.
Building our strength with a Saturday at 11 on the Voice of St. Louis. Your financial donation to the Red Cross provides critical relief when it's needed most. Visit redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS or text the word HALEEM to 90999 to donate today. Every dollar counts. Message and data rates may apply.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates.
Intercepted.
Okay, intercepted. Okay.
We are attempting to reconnect with reporters on the ground in Israel as an attack from Iran has happened about 40 or so minutes ago. We just got the word of it, so we're paying close attention to what's going on there. As soon as we can reconnect to CBS, we will do that, and let's go there now.
The Jewish nation. Back in April, Iran launched hundreds of missiles and drones at Israel. Most were shot down by Israel and a U.S.-led coalition. This is a fast-developing story. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Elizabeth Palmer joins us now from Tel Aviv with the latest. Liz?
Good evening, Errol. Yes, we began to get warnings about an hour ago from both U.S. and Israeli sources that ballistic missiles were on the way from Iran. More than 100 of them, we were told. They came in 2 salvos, and in both instances, the sky above me was lit up by those interceptors, blowing them up. We hear that one building in Tel Aviv was hit, but it does look as if most of them were blown out of the sky before they could do more damage. It wasn't only here in Tel Aviv, but also to the east of us and down south in the Negev.
As we heard from our contributor in Jerusalem, Robert Berger, he heard sirens there as well. U.S. intelligence was warning that this Iranian attack on Israel was imminent this morning. President Biden meeting with his security team to discuss a response. But from what you can tell, how much damage has there been?
It's very hard to tell. We shouldn't even really be outside right now. We should be in shelter, as should every Israeli. There's almost no traffic. We saw a lot of missiles being blown up by the interceptors. We didn't hear any bangs or crashes as if buildings had been hit, although, as I said, there was news that one has been hit. Sometimes you can see flaming shrapnel coming out of the sky, and that can do damage. But at the moment, there is no sort of survey of what's happened. And we did get a warning a short while ago that there was going to be another battery of Iranian ballistic missiles. So we're sort of braced for that. You get about 2, 3, 5 minutes warning. Everybody then should really head for the shelters. And then, of course, we see the fireworks over our heads.
And of course, Liz, we want you and your team to stay safe. We appreciate you bringing us this real-time report. The IDF, that's the Israel Defense Forces, have said that the aerial defense array is identifying and intercepting launches. It appears at this moment that this attack from Iran has ended, but U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin just yesterday reiterated that the U.S. supports Israel's right to defend itself. He went on to say that there needs to be a diplomatic resolution when speaking with Israel's, what it describes as a limited ground incursion in Lebanon against Hezbollah. How much does all of this force the U.S. to help Israel defend itself?
Well, there are more U.S. military assets coming to the region. The Biden administration has made it very clear that it is going to support Israel. Israel, of course, has launched in the last few days another front in its war, attacking Hezbollah, and even today, going in limited ground incursions. We've had bombing all day and all night in Gaza. And the U.S. so far hasn't shown any sign of withdrawing support, either rhetorically or crucially in terms of military sales.
We know that from within Israel, they have warned severe consequences for Iran in the event that this ballistic missile attack would take place. But it is happening at a time of increased insecurity in the region. How might we expect Israel to respond to this?
It's such a difficult time to make those kind of predictions. As I said, there are two hot fronts in this war already. It's the eve of the Jewish New Year, the high holidays. So this should be a massive holiday and time for reflection tomorrow and the next day. And we're coming up on the anniversary of the October 7th attack. So passions are running very high. And on top of it, just a couple of hours ago, two terrorist gunmen got off the train about a mile from where I'm standing and began spraying the railway station in Jaffa, just down the coast, with gunfire. 8 people are dead in that attack, as well as the 2 terrorists. So the nation is feeling insecure, vulnerable, very much conflicted, and I think that probably the reaction, the strategy, and the tactics to respond are being formulated right now.
It's interesting you mention the gunman attack. I had not heard that, but it is happening, as you say, at a time where we're approaching the 1-year anniversary of the October 7th attack, where Hamas militants, killed and kidnapped Israeli citizens. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been under increasing pressure all year to do something to get hostages released and to reach some kind of peaceful resolution, some type of pause in the conflict. Talk to me more about what Israelis are telling you they want from their government.
Well, hundreds of thousands of Israelis have been demonstrating most nights, telling Netanyahu they're not happy. They think that he's going for victory as opposed to the hostages coming home, and they would like to see a deal with Hamas. Prime Minister Netanyahu has shown no sign of wanting to negotiate, and in fact, he has opened a new front in the war on Israel's northern border. That being said, the head of Hamas, Yahya Sinwar, also shows no sign of wanting to negotiate. So the hopes for a negotiated solution, a peace, some kind of stability, even a ceasefire, have pretty much melted away for now. And we're in uncharted waters. You know, this country was getting ready to celebrate the 1-year anniversary. Celebrate is the wrong word, to mark the 1-year anniversary of the October 7th massacre with meetings and prayers and demonstrations, and many families sitting and grieving together, those who have lost loved ones, those who still have family members held hostage in Hamas. It was going to be a time of reflection. Well, with this kind of insecurity, it's unlikely people are going to be able to congregate. Earlier today, the IDF said groups of more than 30 people were going to be banned. And so what should have been a time of perhaps healing and looking in a cool and meditative way at what might be possible is now going to be fraught and frightened and very, very uncertain.
Yeah, and we hear the sirens around you. We know that these types of experiences are traumatic for all people involved. That's our senior foreign correspondent, Liz Palmer, joining us from Tel Aviv. Of course, we want you and your team to get to a safe area immediately. We'll stay in contact with you. We want to move now to our CBS News senior national security correspondent, Charlie D'Agata, at the Pentagon, has spent much time in the region covering every aspect of this. Charlie, what's the latest word from the U.S. Department of Defense?
Well, Errol, ever since this morning, we heard those warnings or confirmation from warnings that we got from the White House that this attack was imminent. And I just have to paint the picture. They don't really like sharing intelligence for obvious operational security issues. But they had been tracking this for some time and believed that Iran had been positioned for an attack like this since August. So really, it was just a monitoring when they were going to press the button. Now, I can tell you, in light of that, the U.S. military has sent in considerable assets. And you may have heard in the past couple of days, as we've been reporting, more than 1,000 troops, new troops have been sent there. These are really air support defense groups. In addition, the past 24 hours, this morning it was announced F-18 squadron, F-15 squadron, F-16 squadron, A-10s, F-22s that are already there. The Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group is there. We've got one destroyer. The United States military has got one destroyer there. And then they've got 4 destroyers in the Red Sea. In addition to that, off the coast of the Mediterranean, where all of this is happening, you've got amphibious ships, 2,000 Marines there in case they need to evacuate citizens from Lebanon or in this case, Israel, because of what's happened. And they have F-18 fighter aircraft. Now, what we don't know, I just ran outside because we're watching all of this happening and they're monitoring it, obviously, much more granularly than we are, is whether CENTCOM, the military organization in charge of that area, has been involved with the intercepts of any of these missiles. Because on April 13th, the United States was very heavily involved, along with coalition partners. What we've seen, and I've been checking it out on television too, remember that Israel has its own competent air defense systems, not necessarily the Iron Dome for something that big, but you've got David Sling, Arrow 3 that can intercept it, and that's what we've been looking at. So again, we are really in a wait and hold, an assessment, and we hope to learn in the next few minutes and hours how involved, if at all, the United States was in the defense of Israel during this salvo.
Yeah, Charlie, this is all unfolding in real time. And just to update our viewers on the latest information we're getting, we understand that the National Security Council says President Biden, Vice President Harris are monitoring what they describe as the Iranian attack against Israel from the White House Situation Room. They are receiving regular updates, according to the NSC. The president now has directed the U.S. military to aid Israel's defense against Iranian attacks and to shoot down missiles targeting Israel. You just laid out for us some of the U.S. assets in the region. Defense Secretary Austin has said the U.S. will help Israel defend itself, but there is a risk at this moment of this becoming a much wider regional conflict. The Defense Secretary said there needs to be a diplomatic solution to all of this. How elusive is that today?
Well, he'd also been warning about serious consequences. And you mentioned that earlier about the conversation that he had with the Israeli defense minister. The Pentagon re-released that statement almost to double down, a statement not only to reassure U.S. and its allies, but a message to Iran. So the question now, and I think we also have to put the brakes on it just a moment. The U.S. military isn't there just in the defense of Israel, but there are 40,000 U.S. troops across that region, and they have been targeted in the past from Iranian-backed Houthi rebels, Iranian-backed militias inside places like Iraq and Syria. So part of that forward posture, as the military would call it, is in protection of U.S. troops too. Now, the big question is what will be the response from Israel? Or, as I said, we need to know how involved the United States and the military hardware in that region was involved in defending off this attack, because it was very involved last time. There are several destroyers launching, they can launch cruise missiles, they can launch intercepts. The USS Georgia submarine ballistic cruise missile is still in that area and capable. So they are forward postured. As a matter of fact, as it's been described to me, they're more forward postured. They've got more military hardware in that area than they even had on April 13th. So they were prepared for something like this. Just have to see how involved they've been.
And again, they are advocating for a diplomatic solution, but Secretary Blinken canceling his public events moments ago because of this. That's our Charlie Daggett, a senior national security correspondent, giving us the latest from the Pentagon. Charlie, thank you for that. Let's bring in senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang now with the latest from there. What is President Biden doing? What can we expect today, Weijia?
Well, Errol, we know that he is with Vice President Harris right now, monitoring the situation from the Situation Room. And as you mentioned earlier, they are getting constant briefings from their national security teams. But of course, all of this is unfolding so quickly. What is important is that the president did direct the interception of some of the incoming missiles to help defend Israel. And we do know that they were able to do that. And that is largely why back in April, the last time Iran struck Israel, that there was a limited amount of damage, a limited number of casualties because of this U.S.-led coalition, along with Israel's formidable Iron Dome defense system. So there was not as much damage as there could have been. But you are asking all the critical questions right now, Errol. I think the biggest one right now is what happens next and how much does Israel respond? Because the president has been trying to broker some kind of a ceasefire agreement in Lebanon, not to be confused with in Gaza, but in Lebanon. In fact, I was at the United Nations in New York City last week, and senior officials there were on the sidelines urgently trying to work out the details of a ceasefire negotiation between Israel and Hezbollah via the Lebanese. And that didn't happen because days later, Israel struck and killed the Hezbollah leader, which is exactly why we are here today. But I certainly imagine that the president will continue to stress the need for a ceasefire here because, as you've also mentioned, there are such broader implications. The other question, Errol, is what happens now in terms of a U.S. response? We know that the U.S. has warned there would be, quote, severe consequences if Iran were to carry out the strike that just unfolded before us. Back in April, those amounted to sanctions on several leaders and entities involved with the military. And so whether it's beyond sanctions or not, and whether those sanctions have any impact are also outstanding questions, Earl. But we can tell you that right now, the president and vice president are monitoring the situation, again, in the Situation Room with their national security advisors. Errol.
That's Weijia Zhang giving us the latest from the White House on what appears to be an attack from Iran toward the Israeli state. You're looking at live images coming to us from Jerusalem tonight, approaching 8:30 p.m. there. We watched a short time ago from Tel Aviv as these ballistic missiles were coming in and being intercepted by advanced defense systems as sirens blared, not just around Tel Aviv, but Jerusalem as well, as all residents are advised to go inside to a safe place. We now want to bring in CBS News contributor Andrew Boyd. He worked for the CIA and State Department and can perhaps help us understand this quite complicated picture. Andrew, what do you make of what we're witnessing?
So we anticipated that the Iranians would retaliate in some way for the death of Hassan Nasrallah and one of their own brigadier generals who was killed in the Israeli attack in Beirut on Friday evening. There's going to be a lot of comparisons to the ballistic missile and drone attack in April, where 300 some odd missiles and drones were launched at Israel and were intercepted. If that is the limited extent of the Iranian retaliation, so to speak, against Israel, that likely will help to de-escalate the situation, because then Israel would not feel a compelling need to further retaliate against Iran. But if it is something more significant than what we saw in April with purely ballistic missiles, as some have been reporting, wherein there are civilian casualties, military casualties at Israeli military bases, then I think all bets are off, and I do think there will be a military response against Israel, and then the question is, what is the United States' role in all of that?
CBS News contributor Andy Boyd with the latest from your point of view. Thank you for that. We want to get back to Tel Aviv now. Our senior foreign correspondent Liz Palmer is there. Earlier, Liz, you mentioned that there was a terrorist gunman attack at a train station. And I just want to share with our viewers, it appears the Israel Defense Forces is making a statement at this time. I'm not sure if we can bring that to our viewers. Liz, what can you tell us is happening now?
Well, I've seen helicopters going overhead. The shooting happened not far from where we are, and these helicopters are transporting wounded from that shooting incident, or perhaps elsewhere. We're not sure. The last I heard, there were 8 killed in that incident, and I've just had handed to me the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps message about these 2 salvos of missiles that came in about half an hour ago now. It says that they were in response, the attack was in response to the martyrdom of Ismail Haniyeh, who was the head of Hamas, killed very dramatically inside the Guard compound in Tehran. And Hassan Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, and one of his commanders, Neil Froshan. The Revolutionary Guards say we targeted the heart of the occupied lands, and if the Zionist regime reacts to Iran's operations, it will face crushing attacks. That may be a signal. Well, first of all, it tells us something crucial. We've been waiting for a long time, ever since late July, for Iran to respond to Hania's very dramatic and embarrassing assassination. So this is the response we've been waiting for that. And then also it appears to be a revenge for Nasrallah's killing. And it may also be a signal that it's over for now. I can tell you that here at the hotel, we've been told that we have the all clear. We can come out of the shelters. And so now we're just going to have to wait to see if and how Israel retaliates.
At the very least, a very unnerving hour for the people there in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. That's our senior foreign correspondent, Liz Palmer, bringing us the latest as Iran says this is in response to what it believes is Israel's efforts to take out Hassan Nasrallah and others. We're, of course, going to continue to gather information and bring you more coverage on CBS News 24/7, your local news, and tonight on the CBS Evening News. This has been a CBS News special report. I'm Errol Barnett in New York.
And at 12:32 on KMOX, let's get you a quick forecast sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. This afternoon, sunshine, less humid with a high 75 for tonight. Low temperatures in the 40s for tomorrow. Sunshine with a high 74. Right now, we've got sun 71 downtown at the Arch. Chris and Amy after this on KMOX.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
When was the last time you watched your home movies? Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for, their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick. And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry. Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos. We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever. It's fast. We always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA. Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box. New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box. Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. Legacybox.com/value.
No need to get technical on heating and cooling. We all want our houses to cool, correct? When it's heating season, we want them to heat, correct? There's not much more to it than that, but I can give you some pointers and tips on the efficiencies, meaning the efficiencies of your house. What you can do to make your house more efficient, and then deciding on what system to purchase, therefore maximizing every single dollar you spent for a furnace and air conditioner. Not spending maximum dollars on a furnace and air conditioner because you're told of an efficiency rating, and that's it. So again, a common sense approach. When you start getting prices for new furnace and air conditioners, call me. It's one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Again, Missouri and Illinois, the only number, 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600, or on the internet, it is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Furnace funky?
Then make one call.
And Jerry Kelly will be there the very next day.
Call anytime, 8 to 8, 8 days a week.
And Jerry Kelly will fix your furnace or install a new one the very next day.
JerryKelly.com. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
At the UPS Store, we understand the importance of a first impression. That's why we're here to help you put your best foot forward and be unstoppable with our printing services. With high-quality paper stock options, banners, business cards, venues, and more, we make sure your small business stands out and your message reaches the masses. After all, we're the one-stop Prints That Pop store. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, prices, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today and get your print on.
If you've got high blood pressure, there's a 50-50 chance you're a walking time bomb. Thankfully, you can take control of your blood pressure with a drink called 120 Life. 120 Life is formulated with ingredients that have all been shown to help naturally lower blood pressure. Go to 120life.com. Use the code JUICE for 15% off. We'll refund your money if you're not fully satisfied. Go to 120life.com. There's nothing to lose. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, or prevent any disease.
Buying or selling a home is a big deal, literally. It's one of the largest financial transactions you're likely to make. So work with someone who will work with your best interests in mind. Someone who agrees to operate with transparency, honesty, and fairness every step of the way. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors and are bound by a strict code of ethics that requires they put your interests above their own. Because that's who we are. Make sure your agent is a realtor.
At KMOX, our focus is you, your go-to station for local news that matters to St. Louis and the region. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Chris and Amy show on KMOX. Over the last hour or so, we have been covering what has happened in Israel. Again, over about the last 60 minutes, maybe longer than that. There was a missile attack, which had been forewarned earlier in the day. The White House had been saying that there was, or they were expecting Iran to launch a missile attack into Israel. It looks like they did so in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and Haifa as well. So we don't know the extent of damage, how many people have been killed or injured. We don't know any of that. We also are hearing reports, and this is being reported in various different places, that there was some sort of shooting that took place in Israel at the time all of this was going on.
At the Jaffa train station, which is it abuts next to Tel Aviv. They're right next to each other.
And the numbers of dead and injured are all over the place. I've seen anywhere between 3 and 8 people dead. I've seen all the way up to 17 injured. But it appears that we don't know for sure that this is all coordinated, but it would be a hell of a coincidence if it wasn't. But there was an attack today in Israel. Now the question is, well, there are a couple of them. How many people are dead? How many people are injured? And maybe even an even bigger global question is what happens next after all of this.
Yeah, and the White House said earlier this morning that they were expecting a direct attack from Iran on Israel. It directed U.S. state embassy members and their families to shelter in place. And obviously that attack did occur. What will be the White House's response to this? Again, earlier just this morning, the White House warned Iran if it directly attacked Israel, there would be severe consequences. What does that mean? We don't know. What we do know is that Israel will defend itself and is defending itself and has and will continue to do so, that the Iron Dome was intercepting the missiles. That was the goal of Iran, was to barrage Israel with so many incoming missiles that some would get through the Iron Dome. Again, we don't know how many got through. We know the Iron Dome was engaged. We know there were missiles launched into Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Haifa. And I also know that the Israeli people will not be living in fear. They have been fighting a 7-front war here with Hezbollah, with Hamas, with Iran, from all these different missiles constantly being shot at them, fired at them, and they have to treat it like hail. And they've been doing that for decades. And what amazes me about the Israeli people is that they will defend themselves. They will do it whether they have our support or not. Our support helps. And God help the USA if it stops supporting Israel, because the United States need to continue to support Israel. And we're seeing right now that the U.S. is talking with Israel about supporting, its defense systems. But I know the Israeli people don't live in fear, and they know that they lose the PR war with the world a lot of times with the different coverage of things, and it doesn't matter. They will continue to fight. It's incredible that they are the size of like New Jersey, such a small country, constantly fighting off the attacks of Iran, the world's largest state sponsor of terror. What will their response be? What will Israel's response be to this attack? Because this is a declaration of war from Iran. I mean, when you're launching missiles, so what is the response to this, and does it stop? We don't know. There are a lot of questions. The only thing I do know is that the resilience of the Israeli people is unlike anything else I've ever seen, and they will continue to defend themselves and not live in fear. I can tell you, Iran has already lost. The Hamas, Hezbollah, and all the terrorists, for all of their bravado and lies and murdering cowardice, they've already lost. Because Israel will not live in fear and it will defend itself.
It appears that there were 104. This is according to Home Front Command in Israel, which is responsible for civilian protection. They are reporting that 104 ballistic missiles came inbound. Most of them had been intercepted. We don't know, again, exactly how many of them have gone through. They are saying that the launch from Iran came in about 3 or 4 different waves. They were trying to overwhelm the defenses of Israel. So again, we don't know what the damage is and how many people were hurt and or killed. We have also heard conflicting reports about a shooting that occurred there as well. Multiple people injured and or killed there. We don't have precise numbers, but we are going to continue to keep an eye on what is happening in Israel. And I think as I said a few moments ago, what happens next, and if this is sort of a one-off thing, or if there's another military campaign, an extended military campaign that comes from Israel and becomes a greater war, and how we get involved with that, if it's a matter of just continuing to send arms, which we have been doing, and I imagine the United States, regardless of who's president, is going to continue to do that. It will be a matter of if we end up sending troops. Now, we did get word over the last 24 hours that the Biden administration has sent or is sending approximately 3,000 new troops to the region. There were already 40,000 in the entire region, or approximately 40,000 in the entire region, which have been stationed over there. They are upping that by a few thousand, but that was made before the missile attacks today. So as soon as we get any more information on this, of course, KMOX will be following along. If something breaks and we need to go straight back to coverage from Tel Aviv or Jerusalem or somewhere in Israel, somewhere else, we will definitely do that here on KMOX. It is Amy Marks-Kors and Chris Ranji, 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, and the Odyssey app.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535, 800-511-3535, or biglou.com.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/gutter to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/gutter. That's leaffilter.com/gutter.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-924-7415. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-924-7415, 800-924-7415, 800-924-7415.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, the director of Siteman Cancer Center, Dr. Tim Eberlein.
The new building is going to be focused on clinical care and accrual to clinical trials, and it'll integrate radiology evaluation of patients.
Special thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
If you're thinking of getting new hardwood, carpet, laminate, or vinyl flooring at one of those big box or discount stores, put it on hold. As in Reinhold. Reinhold Flooring, covering St. Louis and beyond since 1988. Residential or builder, you'll find everything you need in our showroom on Telegraph. When it comes to investing in your home, you want the best in carpet, laminate, vinyl flooring, or area rugs. Put those others on hold with Reinhold Flooring. Stop by Telegraph Road or learn more at reinholdflooring.com.
Amy Markscourt. Fabulous. Chris Ranji. Unbelievable. On KMOX.
It is the Chris and Amy show, final segment of the show before Dave Glover takes over here. We are following what's happened in Israel this morning. The attack for us started in the 11 o'clock hour. And at this moment, according to an IDF spokesperson, this is what they say. After assessing the situation at this stage, no additional threats have been identified in the airspace. What they are referring to is a launch of somewhere between 100 or a couple of hundred missiles. The home front there in Israel said that it was a little over 100 that were launched. A lot of them were intercepted. We don't know the scope of the damage or who was hurt, how many people were hurt. We also know there was a shooting that took place. But back to the IDF spokesperson, it says you may leave the protected area. So these are people who were sheltering as the attack was ongoing. There are isolated injuries in the center and south. They have no knowledge of any fatalities, and this is thanks to your responsible conduct. And this is, again, the IDF speaking to the people of Israel. He also says this attack will have consequences. We will act where and when we decide. Again, from the IDF.
Yes. And also we'll be paying attention to any word coming out of the White House, the Biden administration, because they did say this morning, if Iran were to directly attack Israel, which they were expecting, that it would have severe consequences. So what that means, we don't know. We wait to hear from that. Like I said, Israel will continue to defend itself, thinking of all of the people there, people here who have family and friends. I have friends and their family who are there, getting word from them that, they know the drill. They go into the bomb shelters. I do have a friend sent a picture, like it looked like a missile did hit a school, but it was the evening. So she said no one is there. She sent it directly to me from her phone. And so again, the Iron Dome kicked in. We know that some missiles probably made it through the Iron Dome, but we don't know exactly where or to what extent. But the IDF did say that the Israeli defense mechanisms, operations, fully operational, throughout the evening, because it is evening there. That's when it was taking place. And Ranj, like I said, it is a country the size of New Jersey that is surrounded by countries, a lot of whom harbor terrorist organizations that want to end Israel, kill all of the Jewish people and end Israel. And yet Israel remains, it defends itself. And it's interesting because this is very so foreign to us, right? We have not only the luxury of size of being the United States, but also of distance from so many adversaries. Israel's smack dab in the middle of it. And so, you think of our childhoods, our memory of like people had like Pikachu, or when Trolls came out, like, oh yeah, I remember Trolls in first grade. Millennials in Israel went to school with gas masks and they would bedazzle. My friend's like, yeah, we would bedazzle our gas masks and make them pretty because Saddam Hussein was threatening Israel with biological warfare at that time. So this is a nation and a people that have survived and persisted and will continue to do so even if the world is against them. So yes, our thoughts are with everyone there.
Yeah, and the good news, at least as of this point, and I want to reiterate that the IDF says that there have been a few hits, but they are not aware of any casualties. Of course, that could change, but if it ends up that nobody was hurt from the missile strikes, it seems improbable, but the Iron Dome is pretty effective, and it has been for a long time. So as long as the casualties are at a minimum, and hopefully there are none, if nobody was killed in this attack, that is very good news. And here's what I can tell you about the United States. I think a lot of people who are listening to this, and unless you have family over there, somebody personally, you are connected to the country in some way. Generally speaking, when it comes to things that happen overseas, and I think we've seen this in Ukraine as well, for the most part, people here they really tend to only get concerned if they feel like Americans are going to have to get involved personally. Mm-hmm. And I know that that's what people listening, some people, many of them are thinking, what does this mean for us now? Are we going to have to send troops over there? Are we going to have boots on the ground? Again, we already have over 40,000 people in the entire region, troops in the region, which we have had for many, many years. And we have increased that, or are going to increase it up to about 43,000. But that's what people want to know. Are Americans going to get hurt as a result of this?
And to that point, how we've talked about our support for Ukraine, sending military weapons and helping Ukraine because Ukraine is fighting a geopolitical adversary and we don't have boots on the ground.
Haven't sent a single troop.
Right. Ukraine's an ally. Okay. Israel is our ally. Israel's the only democracy smack dab in the middle of countries that have, like I said, are run by terrorist organizations or by extremists. And the stability, any stability we have in the Middle East is in great part due to Israel. And so this is an ally worth supporting.
That's Amy Marxkors. I'm Chris Ranji. Anything you missed on the Odyssey app, it will be there for you to download. We hope that you will do that. Also, just completely off topic, wanted to let you know that after the Cardinals press conference yesterday, Kevin Wheeler, Bernie Miklasz, Tom Ackerman, Matt Pauley all did a podcast. It is on the KMOX 1120 YouTube page. If you want to go find it, it's all in response to the press conference that occurred yesterday and the Cardinals' announcements of the changes that are coming over the next 12 months or so. So if you want to watch that, you can do that. It is there available, the KMOX 1120 news page. Amy and I are going to be back with you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We will be here on 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, and the free Odyssey app. The Dave Glover Show is next.
This is Carson Daly, and on behalf of Dr. Alfie, Katie Neal, and all of our guests, I want to thank you for joining us for